praise you, Most High. Yeah, that sound good, y'all. Hello. What we doing?
Hey, cook that up, Khalid.
We still getting to the money, got these haters in they field. Lil' homie, let them chill. Most I told me, vengeance hit my enemies, my footstools. We ain't got no beef for real. Just here, this how we live. Look here, homie, we still getting to the money, got these haters in they field. Lil' homie, let them chill. Most I told me, vengeance hit my enemies, my footstools. We ain't got no beef for real. Just here, this how we live. Look here, homie, be still. They said you got the call, they trying to blackball you. Play what they own, bro. You can't blackball a boss. The whole world, they hate Israel. The way you hate your neighbor, might as well pull the trigger on yourself. You know we get excited by the smoke. Every day we casting flesh. Say my treasure stored in heaven, we gon' blow the rest. They disrespecting and we check. The bank that causing kept it still. They asking others about my business, but I ain't got no instant miss. See, I still deal with ox direct. Cause your person don't mean you respect. Your outlet don't get no credit if the ox ain't in it. Money answer all things and you got all these questions. Playing Vic, look, I employ slavery. I'll if you broke your head. Yeah, them crews in the hood, Jews in the hood. I caught them clues, now I'm good. I broke it down, he understood my all to you. Filtered through, you found a few, I'm good. We what we sold, this here exclusive. They like, hey, folk, look what you doing. We still getting to the money, got these haters in they field. Lil' homie, let them chill. Most I told me, vengeance hit my enemies, my footstools. We ain't got no beef for real. Just here, this how we live. Look here, homie, we still getting to the money, got these haters in they field. Lil' homie, let them chill. Most I told me, vengeance hit my enemies, my footstools. We ain't got no beef for real. Just here, this how we live. Look here, homie, be still. Most I told me, be still, give a room to work. Know my movie work. Your faith ain't good, don't put the work in. In the spirit flexing, that my day job. Getting the mode out my own, I don't know what they are. Before I got the blueprint, and I'm too legit to quit. Let it spark in the dark, be a light, got it lit. Trying to map my movement, got my haters pondering. The odds set the questionnaire, they wanna know if you still lit. It hit different, you authentic, a lot of odds pretending. We do it for the Lord, got my own motion, who are you to judge? The most high first, none above. Tap in the spirit, we locked in, they'll come against your plot. You know Judas said, yeah, we spit them scripts, they barely now. Came on slave ships, then you not blind. You know they tell you everything. Isaiah 30:20, yeah, we bad. You see what happened when they tried to rail the train up off the track. False witness, hypocrite. We throw shots back, now they feel hit. Must go get it. We still getting to the money, got these haters in they field. Lil' homie, let them chill. Most I told me, vengeance hit my enemies, my footstools. We ain't got no beef for real. Just here, this how we live. Look here, homie, we still getting to the money, got these haters in they field. Lil' homie, let them chill. Most I told me, vengeance hit my enemies, my footstools. We ain't got no beef for real. Just here, this how we live. Look here, homie, be still.
Well, all right. Once again, putting it down for you and yours. This is the Lion's Den, and this is the segment titled "The Conversation Continues," talking about what's on your mind. And we're your host, the Dynamic 2, making it happen always with Virgo energy. You have the seventh answer, Lady Karima, along with me, Big Baby Hebrew Brother Mala Akaya, putting it down for you and yours. As always, we give an honor to the Lord in Christ, from whom all positive thoughts flow. And as you know, when you tune in to the Lion's Den, you are now tuning into the ultimate truthality social media experiment. That's right, experiment. Because you know what? When you come in, you're going to dibble dabble and you're going to find out, you're going to learn a whole lot as we hit you with the Holy Spirit and, of course, Virgo energy, nonstop. We're analytical, tactical, critical, political, but we always strive never to be hypocritical, okay? Never that. Now, of course, you know what makes this machine run, but still we're going to always repeat it, because you know what? The two basic rudiments to learning are rhyme and repetition. So, the 7 I's, baby: intelligence, integrity, inspiration, influence, independence, insight, and information, which brings about the facts. That's FACTS. Frequently accurate, correct truths. You put that apostrophe, and that's how the S fits in. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about, right? Moving on. And when you roll with the Lions, you're rolling with the pride, because we're always permanently ready in destroying evil, starting with our own. And as always, we're one of the many factions of the anti-coon movement. And what's a coon? A complete, obvious, obedient, yes, boss nigga. We don't do that here. No handkerchief head, no bed wenching, no pickaninny, no buck dancing, no samboing, none of that exists here. Why? Because we can't be sold and we won't be bought. And of course, this is also the home of point counterpoint, which is another way of saying debate. Sometimes we may not see eye to eye, but we always keep each other on point by correcting each other and giving each other that healthy dose of the facts and making sure all I's are dotted and T's are crossed. And you put I and T together, you get the word it, because it's imperative that we follow the formula of the good Lord. Isaiah, the 41st chapter of the Bible, verses 21 through 24, which tells us what? To produce our cause and bring forth our strong evidence at all times. And of course, 1 Thessalonians, the 5th chapter of the Bible, verse 21 tells us to be ready, willing, and able to do what? Prove all things. All right? Now, of course, the seventh answer and myself, we are sympathetic and empathetic to those of you out there who can't handle the truth-ality. You can't handle the facts. You can't handle the reality that we delve into. Well, we're not going to compromise it for nobody. So if you can't handle it, you need to skedaddle, leave, break out, go that way, left or right. It don't matter. You will not be missed if you can't handle what we're about to bring to you. And of course, last but not least, the next and tried and very true formula of this great machine, the Lion's Den, as Iron Manna, one of our beautiful family members, set forth. When you come into the Lion's Den, you better wipe your feet, mind your manners, conduct yourself in an orderly manner, and enjoy yourself. Because if you get out of line and get out of pocket at any given time, well, the seventh answer, she will swoop down and kick you up out of here. Break you down with the quickness, work you out like physical fitness, hit you with somebody to get up out of here. Not even a Jehovah's Witness. All right? And please understand that from the nation's capital, the state capital, from the pineapple to the big apple, New York, and Killer Cali, we're going to bring it to you raw, straight, with no chaser to the grand finale. Okay? And now, of course, what I'm going to do is dedicate this particular episode to the memory of our dear brother and neo-soul pioneer, D'Angelo, who we lost to pancreatic cancer. And I also dedicate this show to the memory of the immortal, one and only, Tupac Amaru Shakur. Now, we have a whole lot we're going to talk about tonight. And this is part 2 to our other segment, Donald Trump. I thought you said America first. Show me the money. Well, this is part 2. And that is, dear Mr. President, we ain't forgot. Give me my money. But before we do that, though, I don't know about Seventh Answer, so I won't speak for her. But for me, I want to give a shout out to A&E. Hey, yo, Seventh Answer, tell them we got invited to the block party. Hey, yo, we went so raw, so real that somebody out there, hey, they was in their fifis and they blocked us. That the truth and the bringing out the real deal on what's going on out here in the earth. Oh, hey, somebody felt some kind of way, and they've confirmed what we've been saying for the longest. Yo, here it is. So we like, okay, we got invited to the block party, y'all. I mean, and I'm confused, AE and YouTube. Hold up, under the fair use clause, and we're not monetized here, and you put your stuff out here for everybody to watch. We gave credit and everything else to your whole zone. But I know why you blocked us. It's okay. We was too real, too strong for you. I got you. But just want to give you a shout out, let you know you watching us and we watching you. And like ODB said, here it is. You got the Lion's Den. As you can see, and FBI, don't you, you're watching me. You're watching me in the Seventh Answer. I can't put it in the round like I wanted to. I'm over here dying laughing. But still, just want to let y'all know, hey, we love you, baby. But now, getting back to what we said a minute ago. Dear Mr. President, we ain't forgot. We want our money. You understands me? I'm still in my feelings about that $20 billion bailout to Argentina. But you know what? Before we go down that road, yo, we gonna take a diversion. You know, cause I forgot to tell you we was on runway 4 and we took off on runway 4 cause like Shaft, we gonna settle the score tonight. But before we go into the main topic, let's take a detour to Gullah Geechee, South Carolina. We're gonna take a Beaufort, South Carolina. You know, one of my old stomping grounds. All right, because if you haven't heard, there was a big, unfortunate mass shooting at a club called Willie's, where we had 4 people who met their demise and 20 injured. All right. It seems, as you know, we see these spates of mass shootings going on nonstop. But see, we want to touch on Gullah Geechee in particular because I and the Seventh Answer, our powers of discernment are always on full throttle. Okay, I don't know about Seventh Answer, but I can't turn mine off. I'm always thinking, I think too much, but you know, better to think too much than think too little. But we're seeing a pattern. And for all you Black business owners out there, for all you out there striking out on your own and doing your own thing, please understand what we're up against. That whole Black Wall Street, Lake Lanier, and sabotaging of Black businesses, that mindset is still in effect. You know, because I'm noticing that besides Willie's, you had a couple of shootings out here in Brooklyn, New York, right? Where you had 2 clubs, Black owned, just opened up, and within a matter of 2 to 3 weeks of their being open, a mass shooting and fight took place. And Brooklyn has been experiencing a great deal of gentrification, which is another word for gangsterism, and a takeover, just like in South Carolina and other southern areas where Black land has been getting gobbled up by gentrification. We're gonna just put this out here, you know, because this Gullah Geechee situation is not an isolated incident. I've been noticing a number of Black restaurants and clubs and, you know, lounges and other proprietorships, when they open, it's always some kind of calamity. You have several sisters who open up beauty shops, they wind up getting murdered. Like I said, it's a pattern. We can't prove anything, but I'm just saying, when things happen more than one time, that's not a coincidence, it's a pattern. So we're gonna run this videotape real quick. Get ready, get set, and the conversation is now.
Wait, I want to run the other one first. I'm gonna run the other one first and then this one because I want this to back up the other one. So I like this video because the dude come in there and he really set the record straight. But because they always try to it's gangs and don't listen to Facebook and all this, but they don't know who or what. Right? Hold on.
Okay. All right, seventh answer.
Thankful for everybody who walked away. I'm thankful for everybody who's alive, who is safe. And we just gotta come together and support each other at this time. I mean, it's kind of what makes or breaks community. It's something that is happening. It's horrible, but we gotta find a way to make good of it. To make it better than how we found it. And just gotta find a way to work together and make tomorrow. Yeah, Willie Terrell, WILLIETURRAL.
Perfect. And you're the owner here of Willie's.
Yes, ma'am.
Just tell me just the nuts and bolts of what happened last night.
So, I'm not sure everything that took place in terms of what exactly happened. The shooting occurred, but it occurred outside, and I was inside. But I mean, I could tell you from inside, I could hear what sound like machine gun fire, and I could see the swarm of people coming in, and things happen so fast, just bodies on the ground, people just trying to duck for cover, and going out and seeing people CPR being conducted on people in the parking lot. So I just know it was just a mayhem, a tragedy outside, and it's unreal. It's unreal, honestly.
Do you remember around what time that happened?
Yeah, so had to be around 1 o'clock. I know it was around 1 o'clock, 12:50ish. It was that time when you kind of hit the height of the nightlife. It's about an hour for closing. Everybody just wants to get in and get their last drink or make their last acquaintances. So yeah, about 1.
What was the event that was happening?
Yeah, so it was a alumni party for Battle Creek tailgaters. So two folks, people from the Battle Creek community was throwing in. Of course, we had alumni parties all weekend. So we had Beaver High Friday night, and this is Battle Creek.
And just how many people were here when it happened?
Oh man, it's so we don't have a finite number. I mean, we were packed though. I mean, it was a packed event. I mean, the club was packed. The parking lot was packed. It was well attended. Of course, with the mayhem, we didn't have time to really get those final numbers from security about what our capacity was. But I just know it was full house.
And of those people killed, did you know any of them?
Yeah. So unfortunately, one of the security officers who passed away happens to be the son of my dad's best friend. So he came and we spoke the night before. So we spoke the night before, and so it was close, real close to home.
Sorry.
Mm.
Trying to think of anything else. Yeah.
So on that night, you people got great. I'm so sorry for this.
Yeah.
Can you describe the atmosphere before everything happened?
Yeah. So prior to the gunshots, it was great. I mean, it was everything you would have wanted from an alumni party. I mean, people were smiling, people were dancing, people were having a fantastic time. We did a lot of renovations. people just enjoying themselves. I mean, you can look around and just see like people were having a great time prior to, what took place, and it just was a complete, reversal. Well, it's just yeah. It was nice. It was a great time, man. I heard the shots. I was, I laid on the ground with everybody else. I have your coworkers and family members that, the first thing is everybody okay? And I mean, yeah.
May I give a backdrop real quick, seventh answer, if you don't mind? Let me just say this to you all out there listening. What you're listening, the brother's absolutely devastated. Here you had a party full of professionals, people who were there to have a good time and everything else, and then all of a sudden things went way left. Okay, but the backdrop is here. The Gullah Geechee community, they are very prominent in Beaufort, South Carolina, Sumter, Cheraw. You have regions of North Carolina, okay, and most of the the southern shore of South Carolina, and there's been a lot of outsiders wanting to infringe on their community, on their land, their businesses. You know how it go. Infringing, gangsterism, gentrification. So he's devastated because he's still caught up on how here it is. They having a good time doing their thing, and all of a sudden someone wants to come in there and do a bang bang, shoot them up. But what I'm looking at is this here. There's we're going to show you a video where there's a big symposium of people, those folks, having a symposium about wanting to take over the land. And then, you know what? Let me just shut up. I'll let y'all watch it for yourself, and you put two and two together. Go ahead, seventh answer. I feel his pain. You know what? I feel his pain. God knows I feel his pain. You work so hard.
Yeah, so
that's right. You work so hard,
right
man.
before the shots fired out, I just brought, my staff and my we have our own club security that helps maintain the bars, and I just brought them out. We was getting ready to end the nights. We sat down, had to toast ourselves. Just successful night, man. It was it. Like, it's all downhill. Like, the work's done. Just ready, for everybody to get ready. Lights go on in 30 minutes. Things get ready. It's like the night's over. Like, we're ready to go home. So, yeah.
Do you notice anything like a build-up before that took place?
No. This one of the ones where, like, you just can't. I couldn't have called. There's been times when, like, we have conversations, getting too testy, like, kill a bar early, let's turn the lights on, let's thin the crowd out, there's times that you see things, and just as a club owner, like, you just got to be, mindful of the crowd. You try to respond and react. Maybe this is one of those times when, like, as a small business owner, I'm usually getting a few security, and then me taking a kind of a personal role of myself in securing the club. This is one of the times when thought we had it fully handled. We had a full security staff. I don't think I've even ever. It might be the first time we had so many armed security, professional company that came out. So it's hard because it's just one of the times when, like, my eye wasn't on the crowd as much as it would have been. So
it's your baby. It's your baby, it's your business, your staff. So I see your staff here, and we talked to your staff first, and they're holding up pretty good in that sense. They're supporting, I can tell. how you guys are working together through this traumatic event.
I mean, that's what it's all about, you know. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I'm thankful for everybody who walked away. You know, I'm thankful for everybody who's alive, who is safe, and you know, we just gotta come together, and support each other at this time. I mean, it's kind of what makes or breaks community. You know, it's something that it's happened. It's horrible, but we got to find a way to make good of it. You know, to make it better than how we found it. And just got to find a way to work together and make tomorrow better. You know, that these things don't happen. You know.
So what are your plans at this point right now?
Probably too early to say. You know, I mean, my focus right now is just the families that's involved. You know, my staff, making sure that they're okay during this time. I mean, it's hard. It's really hard to call. It's really hard to call. I mean,
and I feel his pain, man. You work all hard.
So we have another mass shooting today, specifically this morning at 1 a.m. in Beaufort, South Carolina, right off the coast, on an island inhabited by Gullah people. If you don't know who the Gullah people are, they are the direct descendants of Western African slaves brought to the United States that eventually settled off the coast of North and South Carolina. There was a bar. Around 100 people were in that bar around 1 a.m., and somebody just went in and opened fire. A lot of people describe it as an automatic weapon, and the police are saying they are investigating a person of interest. What's crazy to me is a lot of people are trying to say, oh, this is just gang-related. No, it's not gang-related at all. This was a lone gunman who went into a bar full of black people and opened fire, and I guarantee you're just now hearing. So we have another mass shooting today, specifically this morning at 1 a.m. in Beaufort, South Carolina, right off the coast, on an island inhabited by Gullah people. If you don't know who the Gullah people are, they are the direct descendants of Western African slaves brought to the United States that eventually settled off the coast of North and South Carolina. There was a bar. Around 100 people were in that bar around 1 a.m., and somebody just went in and opened fire. A lot of people describe it as an automatic weapon, and the police are saying they are investigating a person of interest. What's crazy to me is a lot of people are trying to say, oh, this is just gang-related. No, it's not gang-related.
Sure. What have your analysis shown about the concentration of crime, and particularly violent crime, in marginalized communities such as in St. Helena, Burton, and North Beaufort? And how are you tailoring your resources accordingly?
Well, the resources that we have in Beaufort County are not only the Sheriff's Office, but our other law enforcement partners in the county. But also we have our partners with SLED, the State Law Enforcement Division, the South Carolina Highway Patrol, and our federal partners, like I mentioned earlier, the U.S. Attorney's Office. You know, of course, we have the FBI that works a lot in Beaufort County with us. We have those partnerships in place, and alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, and all those are critical partners when we're looking at how we make charges, what charges are made, and what jurisdiction those charges can be prosecuted. I've had multiple conversations with Solicitor Stone over the past couple of days. Matter of fact, every day, multiple times a day since Sunday. He's prepared. He assures me today that he's prepared to handle the charges that are brought forward when arrests are made. But until we get to that point, we're crossing T's and dotting I's, because those requirements are not only in place to make an arrest, but we have to look at this case from the ground up. So the ground up is that whatever cases we make, whatever evidence that we collect, and how that evidence is contributed to different people responsible for this crime, all of that will end up in a courtroom. And what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to victimize these families a second time by not doing the job that has to be done, and it has to be methodical and it has to be meticulous. So all of those things are time sensitive, and I'm not a patient person. You can ask my staff and they'll tell you my patience is thin, and I'm demanding things to be done, and they're expediting things, but at the same time I always hold myself back, and I understand, based on my career and the fact that I've been an investigator as well, I understand the importance of crossing T's and dotting I's. Folks, you kind of need to know we've got a problem in Beaufort County. And this problem didn't pop up Saturday night, Sunday morning. And in a lot of things, it kind of gets lost in translation. Not only, and I'm not blaming the media or anyone else, but in the past year and a half, Beaufort County Sheriff's Office has made 24 arrests on possession of machine guns. 24 in a year and a half. 6 are still in jail. 18 are out on bond. A bond that you would laugh at. And it's not funny. A bond that allows those that we have been dealing with for years, and we chase them every week, every weekend, that are out on bond for possession of a machine gun. No one should possess a machine gun.
Sheriff, why do you believe that these are predominantly young African American men? Why do you feel that they feel the need to be armed so heavily?
You know, there are several key components to that. Some of this is gang connectivity. The other is not only related to the gang activity that we do have, but it's also connected to social media. A lot of this is connected to Facebook and other platforms that are used on a day-to-day basis by this age group. And it's not a race issue. This is not, and I know your question is indicated more to a particular group in Beaufort County or particular race in Beaufort County, but this is countywide, this is statewide, this is national. So we have got to do a better job of getting a better grip on the gang activity and how that not only affects Beaufort County, but affects other counties in South Carolina and throughout this country. And these young men and women honestly feel like they need to be heavily armed to protect themselves. It's not to protect themselves against law enforcement. It's to protect themselves against people that they're enemies with because of a comment that was made on Facebook, where someone has felt that they have been disrespected, and then now it's their job and their role to gain that respect. And it's their reputation that they find that's in question. So there are a lot of folks that are having different issues, not necessarily associated with Facebook, but feel like they have been offended or a criminal act has been committed against themselves, and they won't reach out to law enforcement. And I tell you, there's a lot of cases that we've worked with, some drive-by shootings and some other homicides, where investigators will go to the victim and said, all right, tell us who shot you, tell us what happened, and tell us who saw it and witnessed it, and you're gathering information. And the comment that we get is, I didn't see anything, I don't know who shot me, and don't worry about it, I'll take care of it myself. That's the kind of issues that we're dealing with. And then what leads to the next thing that we deal with is a retaliatory shooting or retaliatory incident that occurs for retaliation. So, I mean, those are the things. Now, can we do better with making sure that when we arrest people and provide the evidence to the court, such as possession of a machine gun, can we do better by setting a better bond? Sure we can. Can prosecutors, not only with the federal system but also the state system, do a better job of maybe dealing with these cases in a time? Sure, but I'm not here to point fingers at the prosecutors or the judges. The reality is it takes all of us to do better. We need to do our job. Everyone needs to do our job. Y'all are doing y'all's job by being here and taking what information I can give you and relaying this information to the general public, because it's imperative. We had 700 people at this party, and we have yet to get a witness that can tell us who the shooters are. It's ridiculous to even think of that. But the reality is that's what we're doing. So it is imperative that all of those and all of this outlet here with our media and all of our social media that we push out encourage citizens to call us. We have avenues of getting information to law enforcement. You can remain anonymous. We need the information. The more information we get, if you have videos, if you have any information that you may not think is very important, we need to analyze it, we need to vet it, because those things are everything that comes together. You have a question in the back here.
Yes, sir. You mind if I work? My name is Lafayette Weber, and I'm an independent activist from Jasper County.
Okay.
And President Trump warned us about this the first time he ran for president. President Trump has troops on the ground in Chicago now for this same problem right here. Okay? For years, this folder is full of obituaries of our young black kids over in Jasper County, South Carolina. Mm-hmm. Why? Because we are living under a very dangerous and corrupt judicial system. This is not fiction, this is facts that's been going on for over 100 years in this state. And as an activist, I have done the legwork to find out where this is coming from. And this is coming from our state elected officials and judges that's putting these kids back on the street to destroy black folks and their communities. This is not a bar problem. I ran a bar and shut it down because of the drug problem that he never mentioned, the drug problem. 99% of the murders across America is because of drugs. Because prosecutors, these local magistrate judges, putting these people back on the streets, y'all. And it's time to stop it. President Trump needs to come in. He needs to go all over America and stop this stupid, ridiculous conspiracy to kill black people. Thank you for your time.
I'll interrupt to ask for some clarification there. What do we know about the suspects? Were they out on bond? What type of weapons did they have? Where are you in different things talking about? Facebook disputes. What can you clarify is fact from what we just spoke about? Well,
unfortunately, I can't make any clarification on that because I would be talking about the investigation and I would be identifying things that I cannot identify at this time. That's a great question, and I wish I could answer it. I have the information, but unfortunately, I can't share it with you.
Would the weapon, being able to discuss a little bit more about how many rounds were fired, none of that?
No. Those are critical things to kind of hold to our close to our chest because those are the things information-wise we're seeking from witnesses to validate the truth and veracity of a statement. So.
And we've said no threat to the public initially, but now do you feel like there is a threat if somebody is out running around in Beaufort County that's a suspect in this case?
Well, and I know I went there a few minutes ago, but I didn't complete that comment. And it's another great question. I cannot tell you that you're safe in Beaufort County. Questions?
Sheriff, what have your
Yeah, we're back. Now, I hope y'all were paying attention to what was being said in the video that the seventh answer just laid out. Now, pay careful attention to the fact that the sheriff, when he was talking about what transpired at that bar, in the Gullah Geechee County area, that alumni park. He said someone came up in there, just started shooting. So someone who didn't have anything to do with the party, who hadn't been invited, wasn't a part of the community, just came in and just started shooting. All right? Now, over these last number of weeks, if you've been an avid watcher of the show, you've seen where Lady Karima has been giving us a bombardment of videos dealing with MK Ultra, dealing with mind control, dealing with people who have been experimented on, who were on the edge of madness and have been experimented on. And there was something that we hinted at, but she hinted at it even more. And that is, what if these people are not only being experimented on as far as being given drugs or certain medication, but what if they are being primed and groomed to be weapons? They're being used to go out here and be deliberate agents of chaos, including wherein they themselves can be killed on these suicide missions. What if indeed we're dealing with a diabolical plot so intricate and so sinister, as far as Manchurian candidates, as far as the fact that a number of closures of mental institutions that were at one time helping the people who were in desperate need, they've been closed. So there are a lot of people out here who are not getting the help they need, and they're a danger to themselves and to others. And you have some people looking at them as being weapons, since they're on the fringe of madness. As a matter of fact, to quote Heath Ledger in his incarnation of the Joker, we're all close to madness, you know. All you need is a little push. And think about it for a second, you all. All these spate of mass shootings in the last 25 years. Look at the looks on the killers' faces. You could see something was wrong with them. And then when you go behind the scenes, you find out a great many of them were at one time diagnosed with some kind of mental illness, or they have been a part of an institution and were released back into the general public without any help, and they became a living weapon. And now here it is in the Gullah Geechee, in this particular region, these people have been under attack by certain forces in South Carolina, but this is not isolated. North Carolina, South Carolina, Chicago, LA, a host of Black business owners have been suffering a lot of a series of unfortunate circumstances over these number of years. And I'm going to run another video, and I want y'all, now you heard the town hall where the brother, now I didn't agree with the brother saying that they need President Trump to come there to handle that problem. No, no, you don't. We don't need no one else coming here to police us. We can police us, but at the same time, some of these people that are being released, that are being, bonded out, caught, they don't need to be in prison. They need to be helped. See, if you know you have people, look, there are a couple of cases that transpire here in my neck of the woods. And these individuals have been arrested multiple times. They were documented as being potential hazards. As a matter of fact, it was a case, we showed you a case of a young man out in Brooklyn who killed a security guard because he didn't like the way he looked at him. But I hope that security guard's family sues New York City and state to the freaking Stone Age, because that same individual who killed their loved one have been on record as having mental issues and arrested 17 different times. So my point is, as put forth by the seventh answer in some of the videos she's been going in on, this mind control, how deep it runs, we could indeed be dealing with a government that are using people that they know and have experimented on as weapons. You might say, oh, there you go with the conspiracy theories. But wait a minute, hold on, y'all. Don't say that. Let's not forget that we live in a land where assassinations of prominent people from way back in the day, and even current, those people had mental issues. All right? So now, I want you to pay attention to these series of videos that we're going to run. We're talking about Gullah Geechee. We're talking about the mass shooting that took place in Beaufort, South Carolina. I want you to pay attention to like I said, these next slew of videos. Run them, Karima.
Yeah, the white dealers is who sell the guns, but I believe it's the police putting them in the neighborhood.
Well, you know what, seventh answer? Long before you and I were born, Malcolm X said it best, and I quote, anytime you see a community where police presence is through the roof, but crime is all out of control, you better believe it's the police that are committing the crimes. It's the police that are doing the dirt and then blaming someone else. Yeah, that enough said. We ain't got to say no more. And we can look at all the series of police precincts busted, police being busted, selling drugs, using drugs, selling drugs, recruiting people to use and sell for them. Like I don't hear. In my neck of the woods, one of the most famous cases was Larry Davis out the Bronx, New York, way back in 86 or 87, who had a shootout with a particular battalion of police officers he worked for, because when he wanted out the game, they wanted to keep him in the game because he was one of their best runners. But what they didn't count on was the then 13, 14-year-old Larry Davis to keep names, dates, badge numbers, who he delivered to, judicial chambers, everything. Yo, they didn't expect that. And he had 30 cops pay him a routine visit. But little Larry turned out to be a shooter. And, hey, the rest, as they say, is history. You're right, Karima. Yeah, hell yeah, these 5-0 and other aspects of law enforcement are some of the biggest drug dealers and runners out there.
They children be going in the house getting their guns and giving them to people so they won't get bullied and joining gangs, and they the ones supplying the little neighborhoods with the little guns, because the artillery that they'll be using is either military style equipment, or what they be having in the police car. It ain't got nothing to do with no the dealer, the store. They ain't getting it from there. They might have hit a couple of them every once in a while, but they be dropping them off by the boatload in the community.
Preach, bring it out.
They do. They
That's
be
right.
dropping, you know, and they be making it easier for them to hit them stores up. But majority of the time, them kids be getting them guns out them houses too.
Hell yeah, they do. But you know, and like Snoop Dogg said on Deep Cover way back in the day, we'll give you $1 million, we'll make your life plush. But oh yeah, you gotta sell drugs for us. Yeah, that's what it is. And like Ice-T said on High Roller, you know what I'm saying? They out there. Police look the other way in the whole nine. Cause they getting paid too. Anyway, let's run these videos. You're now tuned to the Lion's Den as the conversation continues. We're gonna get to our main topic, but we gotta just take a diversion to put y'all up on game. For all y'all out there, you black business owners and land owners out there, buckle up because, like I said, there are elements out there coming for our land. Gentrification is gangsterism and it's terribly real. And there are people out here who will go to all extents to see that we lose.
Yeah,
Run the videos.
They coming
Okay.
for. See what it is since he getting rid of the, Hispanic people, he's working on getting rid of the black people, and he gonna use they criminals. Believe that. Watch. He gonna use all they criminals, and he gonna start deporting them to different places of their choices. But the thing of the matter is, they have to create a scenario that the neighborhood is violent and people calling on them, telling them to come help them when, you know what I mean? That ain't gonna do nothing but cause them to be police, and it's gonna cause more trouble and violence between the military. You got the military fighting veterans right now. It's like a veteran between military. The old veterans is going at it with the active duty officers. Like it's just all the way around, you know what I mean, conflict. But the fact of the matter is they're gonna be having using these military people to hit these streets to try to go against these, you know what I mean, so-called criminals, and they're gonna be trying to, take them out, either take them out or deport them, pure point blank. So they're going to use their little new law to get rid of the black people.
And there you have it. Let's go to war. Let's go to war, Lady Seventh Answer. Run these videos.
We're taking a closer look, really digging into the source material on that tragic mass shooting at Willie's Bar and Grill, St. Helena Island, South Carolina.
Yeah, October 12th, 2025.
Right. And our mission here isn't just breaking news. We want to understand the cultural impact.
Hey, if you enjoy deep insights like this, hit that subscribe button. Now it's free and it means a lot to us.
The legal side of things and the state policies that sort of set the stage.
The bare facts are just awful. It happened around 1:00 a.m., packed alumni event. Initial reports said 4 people killed, at least 20 injured, some very critically.
But the where of it all, that's crucial.
Exactly. This wasn't just anywhere. It hit St. Helena Island, the largest center for the historic Gullah Geechee community right there on the SC coast.
A community known for its strong social ties, its unique culture, and frankly, a place where this kind of violence has been historically rare. So the shockwaves are just immense.
It really strikes at their identity. They've fought for generations to preserve their culture, their land, and now this kind of violence, it introduces this very modern, very American threat.
And it could accelerate that trend we see sometimes, younger people feeling they have to leave.
It's a real concern. Feeling unsafe in your own cultural home, that's profound.
Okay, but let's shift to the venue itself, Willie's Bar and Grill. Our sources point to something really important here, legally speaking.
Yeah, this wasn't the first time. There was another shooting incident there back in November 2022.
Right. And that prior incident, that changes things legally, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. That 2022 shooting establishes what lawyers call foreseeable risk. The owner, Willie Turl Food Services, was basically put on notice. They knew gun violence was a specific potential danger at their place.
So it's not just about catching the person who pulled the trigger this time. The focus broadens.
Exactly. The venue itself, the institution, now faces serious civil liability for negligent security.
Meaning they didn't take reasonable steps after that 2022 warning, like metal detectors, more security guards, that sort of thing.
Precisely. Things that could have potentially mitigated the risk. And this liability, it's not just about damages, though that's part of it, it's about pressure.
Pressure to change behavior.
Yes. Civil suits like this can sometimes force businesses to adopt safety standards that maybe legislation hasn't successfully mandated.
Which kind of leads us to the bigger picture in South Carolina.
Yeah.
Why is this risk seemingly so high there? The state has a really high gun death rate.
It does. It's about 19.1 per 100,000 people. The national average is, 13.7, so significantly higher. An analysis often links this to, well, a couple of key state policy decisions.
Okay, what are those?
Well, first, there's the adoption of constitutional carry back in 2024. That policy essentially got rid of the requirement to have a permit or any required training to carry a concealed weapon.
So people can legally carry firearms, potentially without training, into crowded places.
Right.
Like a bar at 1 a.m.
That's the reality. And it definitely increases the odds that a simple argument could escalate into something far worse, like a mass shooting.
You mentioned a couple of policies. What's the second one?
It's the persistence of what's known as the Charleston loophole. South Carolina still allows a gun sale to go through after 3 business days, even if the federal background check hasn't come back completed.
Wow. And that loophole, that's the same one tied to the awful Emmanuel AME church shooting in 2015,
The
right?
very same one, almost a decade later. And that specific gap, which can let firearms get into the wrong hands, it still hasn't been closed by state lawmakers.
So what we're seeing on St. Helena Island is this terrible intersection, a crisis for the Gullah Geechee culture, meeting a, frankly, public safety policy crisis at the state level.
Right. And the criminal investigation, we know it's ongoing. They're looking for persons of interest. But still, no arrests, no official motive released yet. It's moving slowly.
Which often happens in these cases.
It does. But that civil liability angle we talked about, holding the venue accountable for not addressing that foreseeable risk, that might actually be the quicker route to some form of justice or at least compensation for these victims and their families.
And that leaves us, and you, the listener, with a pretty stark thought. What does it signify about our systems when a civil lawsuit over negligent security might be more effective at driving public safety changes than actual gun legislation? Something to definitely mull over.
But now, Seventh Dance, I'm going to ask this question to you and anyone else. How could they try to hold the bar and venue liable for not taking steps to have better security if this was a random, somebody just ran up in the place and shot it up? If someone just came in out of nowhere, as the sheriff put it down earlier on, how then they try to hit the owners of the bar and of the land with a civil liability lawsuit when they couldn't possibly foresee that somebody would randomly come in there and shoot up the place? No matter how much metal detectors or whatever you have going on, that can't stop someone.
Okay, so remember,
go ahead.
So remember back in the days when they already put the drugs in the community. So they made it a law to where if somebody got caught with drugs in front of your property, you would lose your property. If they got caught busted in front of you, it don't even matter if you had any knowledge or anything of it. If they got caught in front of your property with drugs, you will lose possession of your property. That it don't even matter if it's a motel, if it's your house. And that's how they used to take black homes back then in the community. They used to make sure that that's the reason why they made up the Lorder-in-law, but they used that against the homeowners in the community, because if they're caught with any kind of especially if it's a child caught with any kind of marijuana, drugs, or whatever, you're in your car or your house took it. But they used that to try to seize up property. That's why they had a whole bunch of property and they were selling it to auction because they were seizing a lot of property from people taking their homes. That's how a lot of homes, you know, especially if it was close to a school zone. They did that, you know, that if you close to 100 yards within the school zone in your house, you're going to lose your property because you have somebody sitting out front selling it, and they could just have, you don't even know anything about it. You feel what I'm saying? And they'll hit you with a conspiracy because somebody's committing a crime and you was involved with it, whether you knew it or not.
Straight illegal, obviously. Damn. They got an angle for everything, don't they? So now here it is. So now it just so happens there's a community board out there in the Beaufort area that want that land. They've been wanting that land for the longest. And Willie and those who own the land and the bar and the grills and the businesses don't want to come up off the land. And now, back in 2022, there was a shooting, an event, and then they put into a clause and a potential, if you don't take necessary precautions to secure your place and something like that happens again, you're going to be held. Boy. So they sent someone up in there to cause the damn problem. Oh, you know what? Never mind. I'm not going to say no more. Let's run the video, Karima. Just run the video, please.
Long time. People that whack people over the head with a baseball bat from behind when they're not looking and kill them. People that knife you when you're walking down the street. They're not new to our country. They're old to our country. Many of them were born in our country. I think we ought to get them the hell out of here too. You want to know the truth. So maybe that'll be the next job that we'll work on together. But I think getting them out, we forget about them. We had some bad accidents in New York, and they're not accidents. We also have a lot of bad people that have been here for a long time. People that whack people over the head with a baseball bat.
Gee, I wonder if he's talking about those Irishmen, all those Italians, and all the Polacks, and everybody else who came up in here immigrating to this country and had all those gangs. I know good and goddamn well he ain't trying to insinuate black folks. I know, but again, I know the coded language. Gee, Mr. Trump, dear Mr. President, weren't we being lynched, getting our heads bashed in by the Ku Klux Klan? They walked around with baseball bats, guns. They were kicking in people's doors, taking their children, murdering them. Emmett Till. The nerve of this dude. Man. Whoa. Woo. That just struck a nerve. But see, let me just hit you to something, Mr. President, and those who think like him. We know coded language. We know what you're trying to say. We're not dumb. People who've been here for a long time. You mean the ancestors of those who came here and raped, robbed, and pillaged the North American and Seminole Indians for this land, Mr. President? Is that who you're talking about? Are you talking about those same individuals whose children today are going around committing all the mass shootings in this country, Mr. President? Are you talking about those people? The ones who go up in the movie theaters, supermarkets, churches, you name it, restaurants, committing mass shootings? This dude, man. Anyway,
No,
go ahead.
about black criminals. You heard he said, the certain kind of crimes that he talking about, low-level black criminals. You feel me? He ain't talking about nothing else, and he ain't worried about anything else. He ain't even speaking about the shooting.
Mass shooting is responding after a local councilman called for his business to be shut down. WJCL 22 News' Tia Maggio is on St. Helena Island tonight with more on how the owner is defending himself and his community.
Just weeks ago, Willie Terrell stood before county leaders speaking out against gun violence. Now he's grieving 4 lives lost at his own bar and pushing back after a councilman called for it to close.
And
Did y'all hear that? He was at a council meeting 5 weeks before his club got shot up, speaking against gun violence. It's all publicity for the gun law. They got to keep it going on so they can get that funding, but it's all part of the package.
South Carolina, we're number 6 in the nation for gun violence, but we're 40th in education. So when people say we don't need anything, I find that distasteful.
That's Willie Terrell, owner of Willie's Bar, speaking out against gun violence at a Beaufort County Council meeting just weeks ago. Less than a month later, his bar became the scene of a mass shooting. Now, as he tries to heal his community, Terrell is defending his business. Councilman York Glover released a statement after the shooting saying, quote, "We cannot tolerate this kind of behavior in our community. I'm calling for this business to be shut down immediately." Terrell responded on Facebook, calling that comment, quote, "reckless, shameful, and beneath the dignity of his office."
That's hurtful. Like, they're so disrespectful to the many people who came out here to have a great time, who patronize this building.
When I asked Glover if he still stood by his statement, he said this.
I made a statement based on emotion, not facts. Let me gather facts before.
No, you wasn't gone. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did, but you wanna expound on it? Cause I'm gonna
rewind it a little back. Oh, no, you did you hear it? I want to rewind it. Hold on.
Okay, if I'm missing something, clue me in.
Before I really make decisions or I really make. Let me gather facts based on emotion.
Who patronizes building.
When I asked Glover if he still stood by his statement, he said this.
I made a statement based on emotion, not facts. Let me gather facts before I really make decisions or.
Yeah, he was making a decision based on emotion and not facts.
That nigga was hating. He was hating, because that business, was booming. Like, he had.
Okay. And here it is. They always use a black. You know how to,
I knew he was going.
Yeah, they always use a black face to be their face. Or shut the business down now. Wow, man, just wow. Wow. Okay, I gotta go back out because I keep going in and out. I'll be right back. Hold it down. I'll be right back. Seventh answer.
All right.
Policy recommendations.
He's now calling on state leaders to tackle gun violence head on. Despite the tension, both Glover and Terrell agree what people need right now is not division, but support.
If I could do anything or where my energy is going to go, it's like bringing healing to this community.
I think we just need to stand on prayer right now.
Councilman Glover plans to hold a community prayer vigil this Sunday. You can find those details on WJCL.com. Reporting on St. Helena's Island, Tia Maggio, WJCL 22 News.
Tia, thank you. The Beaufort County Sheriff's Office will hold a news conference tomorrow morning at 11, and WJCL 22 will bring you that update live on air and online.
Yeah, see, he had no business making a statement like that without first gathering the facts. What kind of judgment is that? Oh, well, I base it on emotion. Let me gather the facts. Wow, man. And they always got some hired stooge, some coon on standby to be the impediment of now shutting the business down. With no fair judgment whatsoever. That wasn't their fault that some random shooter jumped the gun, came in there literally with a gun, and started blasting away. That I can't get past that part. How do you fault them for not expecting a random? No one expects to have someone randomly come in or be sent to go in and deliberately cause chaos when they were already on an edge by the state of South Carolina in the first freaking place. So they waited a couple. So they waited a couple years.
The police didn't like that they hired. The police didn't like the fact they hired outside security. I was just playing.
Now see, I didn't even know that part. So they had their own private security.
Yeah, you heard them say it was deep, and they had everything planned. They just wasn't planned for you some lonely person to come in. They said it was one person, but some person said that they were shooting from the outside and the inside. But
seventh answer, let's say it was one lone person. If that one lone person was a hell of a shot, a hell of a professional, knew the ins and outs and got out real quick. So come on, that ain't nothing but planned. And that's somebody who's military trained. There ain't no doubt in my mind. Go ahead, seventh answer. Run the video.
New surveillance video has just been released in a deadly Crown Heights club shooting in August, and it gives us new insight into the incident that killed 3 people and injured 11 others. News 12's Julia Burns joining us from Brooklyn Federal Court with a close.
Now we're taking you to New York City, New York. Brooklyn's in the house. This is one of the many clubs, black-owned clubs, mind you, Caribbean American, Black Americans putting their money together, trying to provide their own nightlife and after-hours spots to come and have a good time. Crown Heights. This is Crown Heights, Brooklyn. Now, what's going on out there has in the last 10 years has been a takeover of different areas of Brooklyn, pushing black folks out. Pushing black folks out, mind you, and bringing in, the yuppies, the young urban professionals, and getting rid of black urban professionals and anyone in between. That's right. Gentrification, gangsterism. And
they want to build them bodegos and have them immigrants come out there and run them. That's, working for them.
Or they want to build some condominiums, seventh answer, and move in, the YTs. You know what I'm saying? For reals. So it's twofold. You're right. It's twofold. But more the YTs, because I'm, this is my area. So I've seen who's been taking over the neighborhood. Go ahead, Karima. Run the video.
Closer look at that shocking video. Julia. Amanda, the new video comes as part of the arraignment for 25-year-old Elijah Roy, charged in connection to that deadly shooting. Now, this new video may be the key piece of evidence in this case, but a warning, it may be disturbing to watch.
Keep your eyes on those with the arrows, apparently pointing out those with guns. Prosecutors say the video shows Roy and gang members exchanging gang signs, leading up to an argument that then takes a turn for the worst. A different perspective shows that video slowed down before that first shot rang out, followed by more. And it continues on, erupting into a full-on gunfight. You can see escalates on both sides of the bar, people knocking over tables and one another as they run to safety, gunfire exploding all around them. News 12 previously reported 35-year-old Jamel Childs and 19-year-old Martin St. Louis were the ones who opened fire in the lounge and died in the shooting. It's unclear if any other arrests have been made, but the criminal complaint suggests a total of 5 shooters. Elijah Roy has prior arrests, including a court ruling that says he can't carry a gun. Meanwhile, the defense argued for Roy to be on house arrest with an ankle monitor, but the judge says he's a flight risk and will wait behind bars. Roy faces multiple charges, including being a felon with a gun, assault, and racketeering. From Brooklyn Federal Court, Julia Burns, News 12.
Now play the next one behind that. I want y'all to pay careful attention.
They still trying to get their little weapon out of jail. They still need their little weapon out of jail.
Oh, okay, you know what? All right. You peeped that? You peeped it, right? Now, shame on me for not even wanting to elaborate. I want to keep a continuity going.
That's what the black dude was saying, at the meeting. They wasn't, and that's what the officer was saying at the press conference. He was saying that they just bail him out, give him a low bail, and let him out. He was basically.
But they want to put him on. But look what they said. They want to put him on house arrest, keep an ankle monitor around him. You're right. Seventh, they want to keep their weapon at the ready.
Yeah, they want to monitor his move. They want to monitor his move, but that ain't gonna stop him from, going out being a menace. Into the meantime, between time, maybe committing another crime. You feel me? They got to get numbers on them.
Exactly. Now, I want to run the next video that I sent you under that because I want y'all to pay careful attention. All right? You had these shootings that transpired, but I want to, if the video is in the order that I sent them, it should be, you'll see a community board meeting, a Crown Heights community board meeting about trying to acquire certain lands and property in the very trajectory that this club, with the 2 club shootings that transpired, took place. I want y'all to listen to this meeting because, like I said, it's not. I find it coincidental that prior to that particular shooting that you just saw, there transpired a meeting where you had some YT folks and others sitting down talking about how to acquire certain properties where the owners weren't being cooperative. Here we go. Listen up.
My name is James L. Blake Jr., and I'm speaking on behalf of 680 Riverland Drive and the surrounding neighborhoods. Our ancestors fought and worked hard and long to purchase this property on 23 December 1907 to have a legacy for our family. I wear this uniform today because I thought it's ironic that I served and fought for my country for over 30 years, and now I'm retired, came back home, and now I have to fight for our land that has been in our family for over 112 years. Is that just? I had a property and tree survey done and completed on 26 July 2018. I had a house elevation survey done and completed on 17 January 2019. I am currently having an engineering survey done. These surveys cost money, and I would not have had them done if I had no intentions to build. I also have a soft contract with a local builder. I believe everyone should have equal rights. We agreed to work with the county for alternative 1 for 0.77 acres. I would think that the consideration of the family legacy with property compared to the length of one person being displaced would be effective. Where is the just? We have been bound to our property for over 112 years, over a century, and the one homeowner in question has lived in their home for a year and a half. Who is to say that homeowner will stay or not sell in the next 3 or 4 years? And we will still be bound to our property. Paying or forcing eminent domain on 3 properties instead of displacing one homeowner that is living in an illegal constructed home was the recommendation of the council on 21 February 2019 by unanimous vote. This is the time to right a wrong for the county permitting the builder to build in that area. And honor the family that has been paying taxes on the property for over a century. Is that just? This is not the first time things have not been transparent. We had no knowledge about the plans that were apparently started since 2016, stated by Mr. Rye, until a survey was caught trespassing on our property. I was informed and I contacted several people until I spoke to Ms. Emily. She told me that the surveyor jumped the gun. My question was, jumping the gun on what? I expressed to Ms. Emily that we are building on our property and not willing to sell. We later went and spoke to Mr. Keith Benjamin and his team downtown on 25 May 2018 on the intersection and asked why the family was not notified about the plans for the intersection. I said that there is no transparency because someone is paying taxes on that land, and at a minimum, the taxpayers should have been notified. We expressed to Keith and his team that we are building and have no intention to sell. The next time we heard about this is when a meeting was held on 26 September 2018 at James Island Charter High School with no notification to us. The meeting was to show the public the 3 recommended alternatives to the intersection. No transparency. Ms. Emily and Mr. Rye was there, and neither reached out to inform the family about the meeting. Better yet, we had no idea that we would be forced to make a choice. As you can see, choice is not ours. Is that just? The trees on Riverland Drive that was mentioned in front of the property cannot be saved. I went to Murray the same about 50 years ago, 50-something years ago, and the trees stood straight and strong. Today, those same trees are being uprooted and currently leaning over Riverland Drive, some at a 45-degree angle due to the fact that SCG&E cut all the limbs on the side of our property. Therefore, the limbs leaning over Riverland Drive is uprooting the tree and the tree's leaning. And it's just a matter of time or Mother Nature. Those trees will fall. Knowing this, those trees should not be included in the number count of trees being lost. The only other comment about the trees is that at the town hall meeting, Mr. Rice said that some people that she knows think that trees are more important than people. Lastly, one council member spoke about principal comments in the outer surrounding community. If you are familiar with elementary school, especially magnet schools, people commute from outer surroundings of the school zone for their child to attend these schools. That is the responsibility of the parent and not for the community to give up their property because the traffic is moving slow. Did the principal ask those parents that were complaining about the traffic if they live within the school zone? These parents that commute from outer surroundings have no more than 5-year commitment to that intersection, and then their child moves on to middle school. We are still out of 2.16 acres. Is that just? Any elementary school in the state have traffic during inlet and outlet because of the age of the children. In summary, our ancestors fought and worked hard and long to purchase this property on 26 December 1907 to have a legacy for our family. Paying or enforcing imminent danger on 3 properties instead of displacing one homeowner that's living in an illegal constructed home. Alternative 1 meets the criteria, but the landowners still need to converse with the 0.77 acres. Alternative 3, 2.16 acres from the landowners will destroy the chances of building on those 2 lots. The parents that commute from the outer surroundings have no more than 5-year commitment in that intersection, and their child moves on to middle school. Thank you.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Okay, my bad, y'all. That was that's the Charleston County Council meeting, that was community board meeting, which is connected to the properties of Gullah Geechee, the Gullah Geechee community, Willie's Bar, and all the surrounding areas. My bad. But you see, there was a town hall, a meeting where you see the white tea folks all up in there, and you got the brother up here talking about how people are trying to encroach on his land, gangster his land, that he and his family have been maintaining since 1907. And then, you know, we heard earlier on the history of the Gullah Geechees and how they've been doing their thing. But there are other black landowners in the South and North Carolina getting gangster too. But you see, this meeting took place before that shooting. That was the point I was trying to raise. Now, I hope there should be the video showing the community town hall meeting in Crown Heights, or talking about the prosperity that Crown Heights bring. I'm just showing you. I'm not saying I'm not. We can't prove anything, but we're just connecting some dots that need to be connected because we see what it is. Here you had this brother here expressing gangsterism going on, gentrification in number gangsterism. You know, this is what John Singleton and the late Nipsey Hussle were trying to fight against going in LA. And then, you know, of course, Nipsey Hussle gunned down, assassinated by the United States government, because that's what his killer, Eric Holder, said. He was paid $75,000 by the federal government to come in and kill Nipsey Hussle. And then John Singleton suddenly, all of a sudden, just dropped dead. Okay? In that time frame. You know, and they were battling against gentrification, community takeover, pushing black folks out. Look, nothing's changed. And for all my white listeners out there who may not subscribe to the white supremacy mind state, and instead of trying to talk to us, you should be talking to your brethren who are out of control and bringing heat on you and others. Not by our hand, but by the divine hand of God. Now, if you can't find that video, then it's okay. But what we're doing is we're showing and laying out to you all that listen. Nothing just happens. And when it comes down to black folks and our prosperity, our doing our own thing, there's always been, from not only white folks, but other people out there, illegal immigrants, as Seventh Answer laid out, Asian and others, conspiring to sabotage us actively, Arab and otherwise. Pay careful attention. See, what we're not going to do is be made afraid to talk about what needs to be talked about and identify who is doing it and why. There's always been an all-out COINTELPRO counterintelligence program directive put into effect to always actively sabotage any and everything that black folk seek to own, operate, and control. And we cannot go on like this. Our time of punishment and servitude are up. And for all the governments and intelligentsia agencies listening to this broadcast, I, Malachiah, and the Seventh Answer, Lady Karima, as direct representatives of the one true God, Yahweh, God of Israel, He wants us to let you know it's time for you to let our people go, that we may serve Him under His Son, Yahweh Shai Christ. And if you don't let us go, you want to harden your hearts, that is your business. But everything He about to lay on you is by your own hand and your refusal to let us go. And you're daring to buck up against Him. Let's move on. Run the video, Seventh Answer.
And people are kind of just looked at as afterthoughts.
Welcome to Brooklyn, New York's Crown Heights. The neighborhood is 70% black, which shrank from 79% since 2000. Meanwhile, the white population has doubled. And this new restaurant has sparked outrage around the ongoing conversation of gentrification.
Often we correlate it with an influx of residents that are generally white coming in and looking at this low value and looking really in some ways to make a huge profit. The economic value of the neighborhood then rises, but not at a pace that keeps up with the longtime residents' ability to actually make more money and to actually reinvest in their own neighborhoods.
So when Summerhill's owner issued a press release stating that the decor included a bullet hole-ridden wall, and the bar began serving a brand of rosé packaged in 40-ounce bottles, Crown Heights residents weren't having it.
That shit was pushed on us. Hello, talk about it. Most of us ain't been business owners long enough to create no motherfucking order.
Everything coming out of that restaurant is just tone-deaf ignorance, I guess, would be from my point of view.
These three organizers canvassed the community to make sure everyone in Crown Heights was aware of the issue.
For me, it looks like a hell of a lot of privilege. Like, she calls it an oasis. Like, by definition, oasis is a getaway from, you know, the daily goings on or what have you, or even just the neighborhood you're in yourself.
The restaurant sparked so much controversy that public officials organized a town hall with community members and the restaurant owner, Becca Brennan.
This Summerhill is just, it's a microcosm, right? You plastering up that wall is just as good for black people as people taking down these monuments in Virginia, in Charlottesville, in North Carolina, in Georgia, in Brooklyn. It doesn't really do anything for anybody, but at least you don't have to look.
You have to understand what our pain is. When we see things like that, when you take black stereotypes and put it in there, what I hear is the N-word.
I don't know if anyone has ever been there before. You heard and was told to be offended by my bar. They are obviously holes from anchors in the wall. That's where the soda fridge was when the bodega was there, okay? So, I'm sorry I have a sense of humor. And that when and in this press release that I okayed, I was alluding to the fact that people asked if those were bullet holes.
You don't want an uprising from this community. No. You don't want one. So as you are coming to this one, humble yourself before us. Because we are the community. And if you think we don't have the power to shut you down, you're very wrong. Yeah. You're very wrong.
Despite community feedback, Brennan plans on keeping the wall as is. The effects of gentrification go beyond Brooklyn, New York. As housing prices continue to rise, gentrification presents problems for low-income communities everywhere.
Gentrification is a national problem that we see happening on an urban scale. The more active people get, the more we can actually get to some creative solutions, and we can actually change the course of what gentrification looks like in our neighborhoods.
The real reason
Yeah, see? These events are not just happening. Crown Heights, Flatbush Avenue, Sutter Avenue. For those who may not be New Yorkers, I'm naming some very prominent areas in Brooklyn, and they are wanted at all costs. Now, you saw the owner, Becky. Did you see the cognitive dissonance? Here it is. Now, if you don't know what the term cognitive dissonance means, it means this: you have certain people who can see everybody else and what they're doing, how they're doing it, what they shouldn't be doing, but they themselves can't see worth a damn that what they're doing is way out of order. Here it is, this heifer gonna build that freaking restaurant, bullet holes in the wall, putting rosé wine in 40-ounce bottles. The disrespect. But yet she's talking about she meant no harm, and she doesn't, and yet she's gonna keep the bullet riddled wall as if to say black folks can't come together and have a good time. The disrespect and her cognitive dissonance, and at the same time, she's gonna still keep the restaurant design the way it is, but and she thinks, and if anyone black is dumb enough to go and frequent that restaurant, shame on you, and may you get food poisoning or something, because you need to. She needs to be ran out of business. The disrespect is astounding, and then the attitude of privilege. But my point is,
I want to play this video since I brought up bodega, and I didn't even know it was up in here, but it's kind of like lining up to what I was saying about how they in the neighborhood. So I'm gonna play.
Well,
Keep talking.
So the bottom line is, you see the connection? Here it is. These people up against forces out there where they're trying to keep what they got going on, but there are forces moving in, encroaching, taking over. The black population dropped, and the YT population has increased. But it's not by accident, but by grand design. All right? And we have to understand what we're dealing with in this 2025. MAGA. You know, this is not a joke or a game. And we're not going to be made afraid to talk about it. Run the video, Seventh Answer. Run the video.
New York, he's a clown. He represents all the bodegas in New York.
Why would one grocery store in each borough put bodegas out of business?
So he wants to put government-run supermarkets in the city.
The bodega owners are immigrants.
Bodega's been robbing the poor forever. Bodegas will charge you $5 for a paper towel or anything you have to get, even medicine. Most New Yorkers live in a food desert. We have no access to big chains. There's not one Walmart on New York City soil, leading them to go to the closest stores they can walk to. An overpriced, aspiring supermarket or a bodega that'll take their EBT card for some cold food and overcharge them for an item they need. And they don't want more competition. They're not complaining about the food banks when the Chinese take all the food and sell it at the corner, or the street farmers that sell in front of their stores. They can care less about the neighborhood. They want your
Go?
Yeah. You do your job. So somebody puts an EBT card in there, what do you close your eyes? So you don't look?
I don't know.
Well, what do you know? So the reason we're here is for your food stamp machine. You don't have a license to take food stamps here. That white machine on the counter, it's a white Valor point of sale machine. You're gonna tell me it don't do EBT? I didn't have any machine. You're sure? Why don't you got your phone, call the owner. Tell him to come on down, we're gonna have a little chat.
And then the extension that they had connected to it.
We'll look at it and see what the AMR is. But a small store could generate $1 million in illegal transactions in a year without difficulty at all.
So this is becoming very popular.
Yes, unfortunately it is. How long have you been taking EBT here?
I didn't have any EBT.
You don't have EBT. Your signs that you take EBT, and you got EBT machine on the counter, and we sent somebody in here earlier today and used EBT.
I don't
Please
know about that. I worked there with Kurita. I didn't have any EBT. I didn't work. I didn't know about those. I guess.
You know, they're doing a disservice to the legitimate stores that are out there by bypassing the authorization process, and it allows them to commit other crimes using EBT and go undetected.
Hopefully it's a message to the community that We see the fraud that's going on with the SNAP benefits and EBT benefits. And also it's a message from here that, hey, there are people there out here, the service, our partners with New York City Police Department, USDA, that care about you, that are going to investigate these crimes. And it's also a message to the folks that are doing these crimes. People are coming for you.
What we do today,
Yeah.
the totality of the operation, you know, since the beginning.
So the 39 million is the totality, I'm assuming.
Yeah, those are estimates. That.
So this acts as the pin capture, as we have on the point of sale. But instead of getting the keylogger strokes, as you put it on your point of sale terminal, it will take video. So as it's sitting in the video, looking down at the pin, it's gathering video and it runs constantly. So if you're putting in your code, 1234 enter, it's entered on the camera device. Bad guys will retrieve this device, download the video, and then they'll pull out the skimming device that is inside the card reader. So that will sit in the card reader when you input your card. So it'll fit right on the bottom. So when you use your card, acting the same measure as this, as you're swiping through here, except you're getting the data on the deep insert skimming device. Want to grab my phone?
The tax on the bodega on.
Oh, this some bullshit. Out of here. This is trash. They capping. Big cap. Ain't nothing going on over here. Take that somewhere else. Yeah, they big capping. He's the president of the Bodega Association. Yeah, I saw him on the news and all that. Don't come over here now. Why you come over here now? To make a propaganda meeting? What the f is going on? Yeah, show the people the real news. You a clown. Get the f out of here with that bullshit. Do that in another store. Not over here. Because I'm going to interrupt the whole because I'm like that. Get the f out of here with that bullshit. Go to another store. This the president of the Bodega Association. Where you at when the violence is going on? You in your house. You in your right sneakers. What are you talking about? Let the tapes roll on, because y'all not doing no more recording over here. No, record this. You got a camera? Record this.
Hey, yo, what's the deal? What's the deal, man? It's your man, Will, man. Hey, I got another video right here, man. It's really, really tripped out, man. I want y'all to check this out. You thought you seen something? You really thought you seen something? Check this out. I'll be right back. Check it out.
Thank you, Oakland. I appreciate this shit. All the fucking hard work. 20 years of fucking working. This is what y'all gave me. Thank you. I appreciate it so much. This shit is just great, man. Worked so fucking hard to build this shit. So many fucking late nights, early mornings for this. For this punk ass shit right here. Coward ass, bitch ass shit right here. Thank you. Thank you so fucking much, Oakland. I appreciate that shit, bro. All you niggas with this punk ass, phony ass, dumb ass beef shit y'all got going on, man. I appreciate y'all, bro. Y'all brought that punk ass shit to a fucking restaurant, the only black owned fine dining restaurant that we have. Thank you. Thank you. I give up. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Nah, don't give up, brother. Don't give up. That ain't the way to do it, man. You work too hard for this, man. You work too hard for this. Don't do that, man. For everybody who wants to know what's the name of this restaurant, it's called Pierre. It's on the 13th Street in Oakland. The owner name is Cleishon Hill. So if y'all want to donate to him, all you got to do is DM him on Instagram at Cleaz_kitchen. That's CLEAZ _kitchen. That's C as in cat, LEAZ _kitchen on Instagram. Man, that's sad, man. And I was reading inside of the messages, you know, how people leave messages, and there was one guy up in there saying, RIP to the dude, fuck the restaurant. Hey, man, it's like this, man. As a business owner, man, I feel everything what that man going through and coming from. We don't know what happened with this guy and what he started. Speaking of the victim, that is the one who got unalived. We don't know what he was going through. We don't know what kind of beefs he had, and all we know is that he brought his beef back to this place of business, and things popped out and went sour. And then you destroyed someone else's legacy and someone else's dream. So don't sit there and holler about RIP to the dude, fuck the restaurant. Yeah, I hear you. You know, until you start building on your, till you build your own something from scratch all the way up, and then somebody, a group of people come in and tear it down, then you can speak on that. But other than that, you can't speak on that, man. You can't speak on that. As a business owner, I can feel that man 110%, because he don't know that man from Adam. He don't know him from Adam. Now, of course, we don't want nobody to lose their life or anything like that. But when you bring beefs, when you have beefs, it's gonna follow you around. Understand that. The beefs are gonna follow you around, and you can get it anywhere you at, you can get it. Just understand that. You can get it, and anybody around you can get it. Understand that, man. So, yeah, man. So if y'all just want to help old dude out, man, just go to his Instagram and, you know, Cleese_kitchen, and ask how you can help out. You know, DM him, ask how you can help out, because I think.
Then he shut down due to high crime following in and out. Due to high crime following in and out close. Come on, bruh. Damn, bruh. See, I ain't never thought in a day in our life, you feel me? I say this, you feel me? But Oakland, we gotta stop the crime, bruh. I thought I never had to say this, bruh. But goddamn, bruh. Feel me? In and out be wrapped around the corner. Every city I go to, damn, we can't even have no burgers in Oakland. Y'all niggas don't want no fries. I know the fries hella weak in and out. But what I'm saying though, damn, in and out, they dipping on this. Now Denny's. Come on, bro. We can't even have no pancakes, bruh. Damn, bro. We gotta stop stripping niggas. We gotta stop bipping. We gotta stop robbing. Come on, bruh. The Raiders already gone, bruh. The Raiders left us, bruh. We gotta do better, bruh. Damn, bruh. Don't tell me the one in Emeryville gone, bruh. The Denny's, I need that one in Emeryville because I'm a legend at that motherfucker. I ain't gonna lie, I got sucked in the back. I ain't gonna lie. We ain't gonna speak on that. But look though, no, on some real shit, on a serious note, bro, we gotta stop the crime, bro, everything, bro.
The reason people in Oakland are seriously struggling is because there's no jobs. There's no way to get money, to make money, to pay bills. Everything that come here closes down. Dunkin' Donuts came to Oakland. Dunkin' Donuts shut down. Can't make it no more. We have the Starbucks right here. Starbucks gone, closed down, leaving Oakland. Can't make it here no more. We just got this Raising Cane's restaurant over here. They had to close down the inside. Gone. Can't open no more. Almost every business that opens up in Oakland closes. Business is closed. Everything closed. Next to Chipotle closed. In-N-Out Burger on the other side of this used to be a Walmart. We don't even have a Walmart in Oakland. You know you ain't got no jobs if you don't got no Walmart in your city. You know your city's struggling if you don't got no Walmart. Walmart closed down. Walmart could not survive Oakland. Oakland is a hard place to survive. We got In-N-Out Burger right there on the other side, ready to close down, and I'm pretty sure Panda went after that. Next to T-Mobile and Chipotle, the little restaurant in there closed. The little restaurants across the street you can't see in them parking lots closed. All these big old buildings, big giant buildings, empty.
Okay. The question I want to pose though is this though. Who are owning those businesses? Who was running those franchises? Because don't forget that some of these restaurants and some of those places are franchises where the
majority of them businesses is black-owned people.
Thank you, seventh answer, and that's the point I'm trying to lead to. Don't you see the connection, brothers and sisters, as you're watching this? Those businesses being shut down, it's not by accident, because if it's not the criminal aspect that is shutting those businesses down, those franchises, black owned, the black owners are not getting the support from the corporate offices who is supposed to help supply them with what they need, when they need it, and everything. See, it's a connection. And it's always us. The Arabs can come in, the Chinese can come in, anybody but us. And they get the funding, the monies, they get everything they need handed to them. But we get it from the mud. We go hard body, and then here come, if not a bang bang, shoot 'em up. You have corporate sabotage transpiring. So we gotta stop playing games and act like we don't see who's doing it. And they've been doing it. Now the question becomes, what are we gonna do about it though? What are we gonna do about it? Because we can't, this cannot continue to go on like this. It just can't. Playing in our faces in the whole nine. You can get a fair shot in America. No, you can't. Because see, if you don't have a military to back up and support your interest, this is what makes it easy for interlopers, interferers, gangsters to come in and take it from you. You don't have a military in effect. And if you don't, and I'm not talking about just an active military, as Tupac Shakur said, we don't have a military mind. The military mind is that man or woman who understands warfare goes on all aspects. When you put on your suit and tie, when you go into these boardrooms, when you go and negotiate, that's war. Military mind, knowing the logistics of where you're going to set up a business at and know who your competition is. No matter how much they smile in your face and initially take your money, if you're not prepared to have a backup system where you can get what you need from another source versus the corporate offices, if you buy into a franchise, they're going to run you out of business deliberately. And the bottom, and unfortunately, some of us still don't have a military mind, or you'll invite the enemy in when they use their liaison, their faces, black faces, to come into your place and rip you up. See, it ain't no secret out there in California, and from Oakland to wherever else. You know, Governor Gavin Newsom, well, he's Gavin, they call him Gavin Newsom, but I call him Gavin Nuisance. He uses continually the California Black Caucus as his face to destroy black-owned businesses and franchises. Nah, I know the game. I know the game. And I know the game players. And that dude been playing in black folks' faces for the longest. You know, at one point, until Seventh Answer checked me on Kamala Harris. She checked me, but it was Gavin Newsom and his bull shenanigans that sabotaged her run for the presidency. See, peep game, y'all. We keep trusting these people and they are not trustworthy. So it becomes like the movie Sinners. You keep inviting the Rennicks and all the other vampires who have no business being there into your place. I mean, look at the movie Sinners. Who got everybody killed? The one person that had her ass all up in there had no business being there. Grace, who invited the vampires in because of her selfishness. And Grace wasn't even one of us. Peep game, y'all. Peep game. Ryan Coogler be dropping it. And Ryan Coogler was in heavy association with John Singleton back in the day. That's right, peep game. So let's move on. Run the video, Seventh Answer.
Out there looking to rob us, hurt us, kill us, beware, you may be walking into the wrong bodega, because now we have the same firepower you have.
Hundreds of bodega owners in New York City are now legal gun owners. This was nearly a 2-year process, and the United Bodegas of America says it took this long because they wanted to do it safely, legally, and secretly. And the knowledge of which bodega owners carrying a concealed gun will be kept a secret.
You don't want anyone to shoot you before they rob you because they know you have a weapon.
The announcement was made at the UBA headquarters in Inwood, where the courses are held by duly authorized instructors like Johnny Nunez. He's a retired NYPD sergeant and former police academy instructor.
Having a firearm is a defensive tool. It's a defensive tool. It's not an offensive tool to be used when your life or the life of another human being is, in keywords, imminent danger.
The group says its only intended use is to prevent themselves or someone in their store from getting killed. In 2015, Junior Guzman Feliz, the 15-year-old boy who was brutally murdered in the Bronx, sought shelter in a bodega before he was dragged out and killed. Last summer, Jose Alba was working behind the counter of a Harlem bodega when this person aggressively shoved him. Alba fatally stabbed the man in self-defense.
They're not out here to provoke any incidents. We are trained to de-escalate situations, but we are also trained to use a firearm if we have to.
Barbara Moretta has owned a bodega since 2015. She's considering applying for a license through the group.
When they see a woman, they think they can do everything, But if I have my gun, so I think it's better for the store.
And as more bodega owners apply and obtain their permits within this secret society, it will remain a secret society.
Inwood. Now, if you don't know, Inwood is a location, is a community and coming out of Bronx, New York. But the bottom line, this whole bodega thing. Let me get one thing clear about that, right? Many of the robberies are from their own. I know that immediately when you hear robbery and we're going to come and get our guns and whatever else, you're thinking black, but it's not black people up here. And I'm out of New York. I'm going to tell you, most of those bodega robberies are from their in-house, from their own. I want to make sure I put that out there, although we're going to be the target. We're the face of robbery. You know how that go. But good connection, seventh answer. And for all my night owls who are now tuning in if you're not on the West Coast, where it's about to be, I guess 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock? Yeah, 8 o'clock. Well, if you're riding up here with me and on this side of the East Coast, well, my night owls, welcome to the Lion's Den. This is the conversation continues, talking about what's on your mind. And as you can see, you have myself, Big Baby Hebrew, and the seventh answer on the case. Making sure you all are informed, stayed informed, and putting you all up on what's going on around you. Now, we're entering hour number 2. We're about to go in hour number 3, and we're gonna now segue over to the main event of the evening. Okay, and that is, dear Mr. President, when you forgot, give me my money. All right. See, a couple of days ago, we took you on the odyssey of, hey, Donald Trump, I thought you said America first. Show me the money, or show us the money. This is part 2. And on that note, for all y'all tuning in, we thank you for allowing us to come into your mind, soul, and cipher. And you're going to learn a great deal as you take flight with us here on this ultimate truth-reality social media platform. We're always welcoming you all to join us on this odyssey. And so, seventh answer, take it away. But you know what, it was something I want you to do before we went into the video, seventh answer. At the top of this show, drop this video if you don't mind, and we'll come back to it. We're dedicating this episode to the memory of our dearly departed brother and neo soul forefather, D'Angelo. And we're also dedicating this show to the memory of the one and only, the immortal Tupac Amaru Shakur. And you know what? Run this video. Let's run this video first. Let's set the tone. And then I'm gonna, if it's possible, I want to take y'all back in time to show you how prophetic Tupac was. And this song that I'm gonna run. Oh,
we ain't gonna be able to play. They're gonna strike me.
Oh, you know what? You know what? Yeah. Okay, seventh answer. I think. Yeah, seventh answer. You know what? We already got invited to the block party. We don't want no more. But hey, yo, here's what I want y'all to do. If you get a chance, go check out Tupac and the Outlaws, Dear Mr. President. Okay? Talk about a song that still applies to this day. So with that being said, we are now hour number 3. And here we go. Dear Mr. President, we ain't forgot. We want our money too. Give me my money. Go to work, seventh answer.
For more on all of this, let's bring in Eric Farnsworth. He's a senior associate at the Center for Strategic and International Studies. He's also served the U.S. government at the White House, State Department, and the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative. Mr. Farnsworth, it is great to have your experience here on Prime. Thank you for joining us. First, let's get right to it. How rare is it for the U.S. government to directly intervene in another country's currency market like this?
Hey, Gio, it's great to join you and your viewers. It's very rare, particularly for a country like Argentina, which has a record of default going back many years. In fact, previous U.S. governments have wanted to support Argentina from time to time, but they generally do it through vehicles like the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, or the World Bank, such as institutions where they don't have such direct exposure and risk. So I think this is very rare in that context.
And the Treasury Department has actually not responded to ABC's request for details here about this agreement and the purchase of Argentine pesos. How unusual is it for the Treasury itself to stay sort of silent about these agreements?
Well, I mean, normally you would want to promote what you're doing and full transparency and to get public support in doing some of those things. I obviously can't speak for them, but the president did host President Milei today. They did talk about it, so they're not keeping it secret, but perhaps the details are yet to be worked out.
Is there a world in which this agreement ends up hurting U.S. taxpayers?
Yeah, sure, there could be. I mean, if you're swapping for Argentina's currency, the peso, and the peso devalues, then you're left holding the bag. But the bigger story here is that you don't want the Argentine economy to collapse because certainly you have a lot invested in it through a huge amount of international debt that Argentina holds, and that would be systemically difficult. But also there is a demonstration effect here to try to support President Milei in terms of his reform agenda that I think the Trump administration not only supports that agenda, but wants it to be a bit of a model for the rest of Latin America. So there's a much bigger story here, too, that goes beyond Argentina.
Well, on that point, could this be a wise move by the U.S. to, bolster our relationship with Argentina while even maybe freezing out China and Russia?
Well, absolutely. That's the gamble that the Trump administration is taking, and it is a gamble. And in fact, I think President Trump said that as much today. He said, well, their failure is possible. Much depends on the viability of the Milei agenda, whether he can get it through Congress, whether Congress remains favorable to his agenda, whether the Argentine people remain willing and patient to put up with the costs of the reform agenda, and there are costs. Having said that, if they come out successfully on the other side, the Argentine people, I think, will certainly have a better position, but the possibility that the United States voiced to tell Argentina to say, wait a minute, let's think twice before we get so close to China, I think that voice is going to resonate a lot more.
Eric, you heard me talking to our reporter Matt Rivers here earlier, and I was saying that this sort of feels like it came out of nowhere here. What do you think tonight is most important that the American audience watching this understand about this?
You know, it didn't come out of nowhere, but for those who don't follow these issues, sure, yeah, this would be the first time, and the timing is complicated. As you mentioned, the government is shut down, and there are a lot of complications certainly around the world. But I think that what the American people need to understand is that Argentina is a friend. There are big issues here, and at least for the moment, there's no the risk of the U.S. taxpayer being on the hook for this is probably pretty limited, but that is something that remains to be seen.
All right, very important information there. Eric Farnsworth, thank you so much for joining us here on Prime.
No, thanks for having me.
Okay. Eric Farnsworth and anybody up there, yo, you know what, man? We don't care about no Argentina. Screw Argentina. Now, let me get this straight. Just a couple of years ago, during the Biden administration, Donald J. Trump and every Republican and their mama was talking all that garbage-ogio about how they were spending hundreds of millions of dollars on all these illegal immigrants, and they were papering them up left, right, and center to the total of about $700 million plus. Okay? But let me get this straight. Now, Donald J. Trump, you and your Republican horde are all up in the White House. We're talking all this America first and everything else. And now you giving $20 billion to Argentina, and you got this bozo talking about the American people should know that Argentinians are a friend. I mean, they're not my friend. Where's our bailout? Here you got a government shutdown 14 days in. Government workers and federal workers losing their jobs left, right, and center. People out here living paycheck to paycheck, or no check to no check. Food prices going through the roof. Don't even get me started on that. Bills going up. Section 8 getting cut. Oh my God. But now you're going to let a story like this leak out to the public? I'm going to say this to you, to the administration that's currently running this country into the ground. You are putting a lot of people at risk in this country. And I'm going to let you know right now, hey, yo, this is good. Yo, I know there are going to be it's going to be a civil war in this country. I see why you're making all the military maneuvers you're making. This is a slap in the damn face if ever I saw one. And we don't, listen, we here at the Lion's Den, freedom of speech, but responsible speech. We would never encourage any kind of seditious behavior. But this right here, I don't want to hear shit about you don't have reparations. I don't want to hear shit. For all you bigoted white racists, you ain't saying nothing about this. That's how I know you full of shit. Now I'm gonna go hard body for a quick second and everything else. If you got virgin ears, just tune out for a hot minute and come back and I'll get scholarly again. But right now I'm gonna cut loose. This is a damn slap in the face. It's bad enough the Democrats did what they did, but now here you go, Republicans, Donald Trump, y'all talked all that garbage-ogio about America first. But I'm gonna say this here, and I mean this. See, unlike black folks, where we've been making it, still struggling to survive, and still dealing with all kind of disrespect. But there's certain other people out here who not gonna sit idly by, who are already up in arms and feeling some kind of way. Yo, they gonna bring heat. You really should have. Y'all have been better off keeping this secret. Here we're in a damn freaking shutdown all over the place, man. People starving. You're cutting social spending. You're cutting Section 8. You want to put people out on the street, but yet you're gonna let a story like this drop about Argentina losing their money in their economy, and you're going to bail them out with $20 billion of our money? Man, give me my money. Give me a check. Cut us a check. I don't want to hear shit about ain't no money for reparations or whatever else. Man, get out of my face. Now, let me return to my scholarly self, because this is just like abysmal. Run the video, seventh answer. Let's get back to our scholarly selves.
Yeah, don't forget about all that money they spent getting them other Europeans over here from South Africa.
Well, that was coming. That's coming next. But I'm trying to remain cool, calm, and collected. That's coming next. Seventh answer, because you went in on that one, and you went in on that one. So let's continue on. Oh my God.
In December of 2023, Javier Milei was elected president of Argentina. Argentina suffered from economic mismanagement for decades, with persistently high inflation and unemployment. Milei promised radical solutions to end the country's problems. He promised to drastically cut government spending and deregulate the economy. This would finally reduce inflation and eliminate distortions in the economy. For the first year and a half of Milei's presidency, his policies appeared to be working. By early 2025, inflation had fallen to a 5-year low, and the government's budget posted a surplus for the first time in 14 years. Milei's apparent success has turned him into an inspiration for right-wing political movements around the world. His trademark gimmick is to carry around a chainsaw. The chainsaw represents cutting wasteful government spending and regulations, thus allowing free market capitalism to flourish. While some of the headline macroeconomic numbers are improving, cracks are starting to show in Milei's new economy. Milei's biggest goal was to reduce inflation and thus stabilize the value of Argentina's currency. This is a chart of the Argentine peso versus the US dollar. It shows how many pesos you need to buy $1. The higher the value, the weaker the peso. For the first few months of 2025, the peso was depreciating against the dollar, but it was doing so in a slow and stable manner. But starting in April, the depreciation accelerated in an uncontrolled manner. By October of 2025, the situation was becoming desperate. Milei's government tried intervening in the foreign exchange market to support the peso, but their US dollar reserves were quickly being depleted. Milei campaigned on free market principles and reducing government regulations. Yet in a desperate attempt to protect the currency, he started implementing draconian restrictions, banning Argentines from buying US dollars. With his back against the wall, Milei traveled to Washington to meet his good friend Donald Trump. He convinced Trump to give Argentina a $20 billion bailout. In this video, we'll take a deep dive into Javier Milei's economic policies, and why they have failed to solve Argentina's long-standing currency problems. For decades, Argentina's government has run large budget deficits to fund generous.
So he bailing out his good friend, seventh answer.
That nigga look like a cokehead for real.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad somebody else said it. But that's his boy.
Programs.
So I'm sure he's been to Epstein Island. Run the video, Karima.
Yeah, he definitely was there in the pictures.
Deficit by borrowing large amounts of money, often from foreign lenders. Argentina's public indebtedness has resulted in multiple debt crises over the years. They've received multiple bailouts from the International Monetary Fund. Argentina currently has $42 billion of loans outstanding from the IMF, making it the IMF's largest borrower in the world. In addition to borrowing money, the Argentine Central Bank also prints new money. This has resulted in persistently high inflation. Milei believed that the solution to Argentina's problems is to drastically reduce public expenditures. If the government no longer runs a budget deficit, you won't need to borrow or print money anymore. Since taking office, Milei has largely followed through on his campaign promises. He cut back on many welfare programs and laid off almost 10% of public sector employees. So let's look at the numbers. This chart shows the Argentine government's revenue and expenditures since 2022. This is denominated in the local currency, the Argentine peso. The currency code for the peso is ARS. Over the past few years, revenue and expenditures have been skyrocketing. But this gives a misleading picture. Argentina has experienced massive inflation during this period. As the value of the currency decreases, the government's tax revenue and expenditure rises in nominal terms, even if there is no real change in what the government is doing. The high inflation rate has also caused the exchange rate of the peso to depreciate. At the beginning of 2022, it would cost you about 200 pesos to purchase one US dollar. Today it takes over 1,400. It takes 7 times more pesos to buy one US dollar. So the value of the peso has declined by 86%. Now let's look at Argentina's budget numbers denominated in US dollars. Milei took office in December of 2023. Before Milei took office, the government would spend about 30 to 35 billion US dollars per quarter, including interest expense on their outstanding debt. The government's revenue was only about $25 billion per quarter, so they incurred a deficit of about $5 to $10 billion per quarter. After taking office, Milei substantially reduced government spending. Now the government only spends about $25 billion per quarter. In the second quarter of 2025, government revenue surged to $37 billion, while expenses were $26 billion. So the government reported a budget surplus of $11 billion. Why did revenue increase so much? It's the result of an accounting technicality. The Argentine central bank holds foreign currency and gold reserves worth tens of billions
Fancy
of dollars.
talk. Translation, your boy went there.
As denominated in pesos.
Okay, I'm sorry. Translation, the man went in there and raped the economy. Okay, and had people loving it. Those bozos was cheering him with that chainsaw. Okay, the chainsaw, not realizing that the chainsaw is symbolic of cutting off the legs of the people. If you know anything about chainsaws and the usage of them by political figures, they were loving this dude as he was raping the economy. Let's just get right down to past all the fancy talk. Go ahead, Seventh Answer, run the video.
As the peso depreciates, the value of the foreign currency reserves increases. Because the central bank's balance sheet is denominated in pesos, they technically have an unrealized profit. The government owns the central bank, so the central bank transfers its profits to the government. It doesn't transfer its foreign currency reserves to the government. It instead prints new pesos equal to its unrealized profits and transfers them to the government. The whole thing is basically a farce that allows the central bank to print money that the government can spend. This black line shows the government's revenue excluding the central bank transfers. This is the real revenue the government generates, mostly from collecting taxes. Excluding the central bank transfers, Argentina is still running a small deficit in most quarters, but the deficit is much smaller than it was before Milei took office. Things are certainly moving in the right direction. Previous Argentine governments have attempted to prop up the value of the peso. They wanted the peso to be strong so as to reduce the prices people have to pay for imported products. When you keep your currency at an artificially strong level, that increases demand for imports, while at the same time making your exports uncompetitive in the global market. Because of this, Argentina ran large trade deficits. Trying to keep your currency at an artificially strong level is ultimately an exercise in futility. Eventually, your central bank will run out of foreign currency reserves, and you'll be forced to depreciate your currency anyway. When Milei took office, he instructed the central bank to devalue the peso by 50%. This caused a one-time increase in inflation as the prices of imported products rose, but the devaluation did achieve its intended purpose. In 2023, Argentina posted a trade deficit almost every month. Following the devaluation, they started making trade surpluses. Trade surpluses will help to grow Argentina's export industries and provide an influx of much-needed foreign currency. When Milei took office in December of 2023, Argentina's annualized inflation rate was 211%. Following the currency devaluation, the inflation rate went even higher, peaking at 289% in April of 2024. But it has since been on a steady downward trend. By the summer of 2025, inflation has fallen to about 30%. While this is still high by most standards, it's a huge improvement since Milei took office. With all that being said, it hasn't been all roses. When Milei took office, Argentina's unemployment rate was 5.7%. As of the second quarter of 2025, it has risen to 7.6%. The rise of unemployment is partly due to Milei laying off tens of thousands of government employees. Also, his cuts to welfare benefits and subsidies have caused discontent among the affected people. But overall, everything appeared to be going to plan. While there was some short-term pain, Milei was following through on his promises to set Argentina on a more sustainable economic trajectory. That's why it came as such a surprise when in October of 2025, the peso started collapsing. Milei had to go running to Washington to ask Trump for a bailout. So what happened? To understand Argentina's current problems, we must understand how the country has historically managed its currency. We must first understand the difference between a free-floating currency and a controlled currency. The British pound sterling is an example of a free-floating currency. The Bank of England does not attempt to directly control the value of the pound. It moves up and down based on supply and demand. If you look at the chart of the exchange rate between the pound and the US dollar, it looks pretty much random. Argentina has a controlled exchange rate. The Argentine central bank controls the official exchange rate directly. All else equal, the Argentine government always wants the peso to be as strong as possible. But as they print more pesos, they eventually have to depreciate the exchange rate, otherwise they'll run out of foreign currency reserves. In the second half of 2023, immediately before Milei took office, the peso stopped depreciating. It stayed constant for a few months at an exchange rate of about 350 pesos per US dollar. When Milei took office, he depreciated the exchange rate by more than 50%, bringing it to 800 pesos per US dollar. The previous government kept the official exchange rate at an artificially strong level. So what exactly are the implications of this? Let's say you have a shopping mall in Argentina. You want to import foreign products to sell in your shop. To pay for foreign products, you need to exchange your pesos for foreign currency. So you go to a bank. The bank will exchange your pesos into foreign currency at the official exchange rate. Let's say you want to import a Ford Explorer from the US. The Ford Explorer costs $40,000. The official exchange rate is artificially strong. Before Milei took office, it was about twice as strong as it should have been. So that $40,000 Ford Explorer effectively only costs you $20,000 to import. That sounds great, but there is no free lunch. Who's paying for this discount? It's effectively paid for by the central bank. Commercial banks in Argentina get their foreign currency from the central bank. The central bank gives them this currency at the artificially strong official exchange rate. Because the official exchange rate is so favorable, everybody in Argentina wants to buy imported products. The central bank will quickly run out of US dollar reserves. To prevent this, the central bank limits how much foreign currency people are allowed to buy. This creates a situation where there is a shortage of imported products. But the few foreign products that are imported are sold at artificially cheap prices. Argentine citizens are also restricted in how much foreign currency they can buy. They can only purchase at most $200 per month. These restrictions are designed to prevent the central bank from running out of US dollar reserves. This resulted in a large black market for foreign exchange. People smuggle in US dollars to sell them for exchange rates far weaker than the official exchange rate. People are willing to pay higher prices for US dollars on the black market because they're only allowed to buy a very small number of US dollars at the official exchange rate. There are two parallel exchange rates for the Argentine peso. There's the official exchange rate that is directly controlled by the central bank. Then there's the market rate. This is the rate that international currency traders pay on the international FX markets. In November of 2023, immediately prior to Milei taking office, the official exchange rate was 350 pesos per US dollar. On the international markets, the peso was much weaker at 700 pesos per US dollar. Milei devalued the international exchange rate slightly to 800 pesos per dollar. At the same time, he massively devalued the official exchange rate also to 800 pesos per dollar. Thus, the official exchange rate became in line with the international exchange rate. The central bank directly controls the official exchange rate. They just say what it is, and that's what it is. The central bank does not directly control the international exchange rate, but they can influence it. If they want the peso to strengthen, they purchase pesos on the international market using their US dollar reserves, and vice versa. Throughout 2024 and the early part of 2025, Argentina's inflation rate was declining but was still very high. So they had to continuously devalue the peso so as to not run out of US dollar reserves. Milei has long criticized previous governments for keeping the peso at an artificially strong level. But even he understood that devaluing the peso too quickly would cause economic hardship, as the prices of imported products increases for Argentine consumers. He wanted the peso to depreciate as slowly as possible while he waited for his other economic reforms to bear fruit. By April of 2025, Argentina's financial situation was again precarious. Milei wasn't depreciating the currency fast enough, and the central bank was running low on US dollars. So Argentina went to the IMF for yet another bailout. On April 11, 2025, the IMF approved a $20 billion bailout for Argentina. This is the country's fifth IMF bailout since 2000, although technically it's an extension of a previous bailout. This $20 billion loan will mature in 2027. When the IMF extends a loan, they typically create conditions that the recipient country must follow. In the case of Argentina, a lot of their past problems stem from their controlled exchange rate. As a condition for this loan, the IMF requires that Argentina gradually transition to a floating exchange rate. The transition will happen gradually. Instead of keeping the exchange rate at a fixed level, Argentina must allow the currency to float freely within a certain range. The central bank is only allowed to intervene in the international FX market if the exchange rate goes beyond these bounds. The balance will widen over time such that Argentina eventually moves to a fully floating exchange rate. Milei's economic reforms have been very unpopular with certain segments of the population. Unemployment has risen due to his massive layoffs of public sector employees. He has also drastically cut certain welfare programs, which has pushed many people into poverty. In August of 2025, Milei was forced to leave a public event early after protesters threw rocks at him. In September, Buenos Aires, which is Argentina's largest province, held provincial elections. The candidate from the left-wing opposition party won the election with 47% of the vote. The candidate from Milei's Libertarian Party was far behind at just 37%. Milei's presidential term ends in 2027. In light of his party's poor performance in the recent Buenos Aires election, many people now fear that he will lose the upcoming presidential election. If he loses, he's likely to be replaced by a left-wing president who will start running massive budget deficits and take the country back to hyperinflation. Milei faces a bit of a conundrum. If he devalues the peso too slowly, the central bank may run out of US dollar reserves. If he devalues the peso too quickly, the inflationary shock will hit Argentinians very hard. This will decrease his popularity and he risks losing re-election. Following the unfavorable election result in Buenos Aires, foreign investors started selling their Argentinian financial assets. This resulted in a sharp depreciation of the currency. The peso hit the upper end of the range that they're trying to keep within. The government started selling US dollars in an attempt to support the currency, but their reserves were being quickly depleted. With nowhere else to turn, Milei went to Washington to meet with Donald Trump. Milei and Trump have long been political allies, with both publicly supporting each other. On October 9th, the US agreed to give a bailout to Argentina. US Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent made the following announcement on Twitter. Argentina faces a moment of acute illiquidity. Only the United States can act swiftly. And act we will. To that end, today we directly purchased Argentine pesos. Additionally, we have finalized a $20 billion currency swap framework with Argentina's central bank. The US Treasury is prepared immediately to take whatever exceptional measures are warranted to provide stability to the markets. Following the news of the US bailout, the value of the peso has stabilized. As of the time of recording this video on October 12th, the peso sits at 1,421, which is slightly below the upper bound of 1,490. While the prospect of a currency crisis has been averted in the short term, a $20 billion loan is only a temporary solution. The main problem with Argentina is that it is a democracy. Milei's economic policies are working. Inflation is coming down and the government's budget is in better shape than it's been in decades. This inevitably caused backlash from people who had their welfare benefits and pensions cut. Milei needs to convince his people that the short-term pain is worth the long-term gain. If he loses the next election, all the progress he made is likely to be reversed. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video. What do you think about Javier Milei? Was it right for Trump to bail him out with $20 billion? Let us know in the comments section below.
Hell no, it wasn't right. It was not right. And now my people, or our people, let me just stop saying our people, those of you out there who tune in and ride with myself in the seventh answer, do you see why we say it don't matter if it's right wing, left wing, Kentucky Fried Chicken wing? The whole damn bird is foul. You see, it don't matter who's in office. They don't care about we the people. Michael Jackson wasn't bull crapping. They don't care about us. Here it is, the American economy is in the toilet. We just heard through all that fancy talk that this young man broke down in reference to the economy. That Malay dude wrecked the economy. He wrecked it deliberately. And in swoops the U.S. now to buy Argentina. Let's just get right down to it. But meanwhile, the same budget cuts, the same slashed social spending, the poor over there are feeling the effects, while over here, Section 8 getting cut, food prices through the roof, people losing their homes, their properties, their jobs, their well-being. But meanwhile, though, certain other Republicans are getting paid out the Abakatutski. They making a killing in our face, and they playing in our face. And there is indeed right now a civil war in this country. And it's about to explode. Look, our job is to be responsible enough to try to, we you know what, we're gracious enough through our God. He's trying to give you a chance, America, but y'all not going to take it. You're not going to take it. Look, yo, this is arrogance beyond. And that's Trump's man. You know, Argentina, it's a great company, a great country, you know, and, you know, America just going to take care of those who need to be taken care of. You know, that's what we do. It's what we do. It's just democracy, man. And y'all, they would, like I said, you, Donald J. Trump, and all the Republicans was talking all that yakety yak a few short years ago when the Democrats went off. But you know what? Wait, hold up. Matter of fact, though, have we ever seen what went on in Brazil, what went on in Argentina happen here? As a matter of fact, we did. Let's go back to the administration, from the George W. Bush administration into the Barack Obama administration. The Republicans set the tone. The Democrats came, because, you know, like my beautiful friend, once known in life as James M. Tuma, used to say so famously, the Republicans robbed the bank, the Democrats drive the getaway car. Let's not forget when you had Wall Street, New York, all these big time executives wrecked the economy, the American economy. And they needed a $700 million plus bailout. And just with 3 pieces of paper and a request, the United States government, Barack Obama at the helm, gave them a bailout. Now, I thought typically they're in business. You either swim or you sink. And if you take risk, if you go out here wheeling and dealing and taking high risk gambles, if you lose, then you lose big. No free lunch. But Milei wrecked the Argentinian economy deliberately. And here it is, the same Donald J. Trump and company that are wrecking this economy right now just gave them a $20 billion bailout. So basically, it's just 2 freaking birds of the same company. Vultures, eagles, hawks, you name it, killing and eating the flesh of the citizens, the poor, we the people. And like I said, they should have just kept this secret. It would have been better had you not reported this. Because if we're in our feelings, imagine what other people are thinking and feeling right about now. Now, fair use. We're not making money off this. So I know someone out there, if you're watching, don't come for us on this is all fair use. Let's go to work. Seventh answer, let's go to work.
Hello and welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me, and a special thank you, as always, to every single one of you who has become a subscriber on Substack, on Patreon, here on YouTube, or who has otherwise supported my work. I want you to know that I appreciate every single one of you. The Trump administration is now diving headfirst into international bailout politics with a controversial $20 billion economic rescue package aimed at helping Argentinian President Javier Milei stay in power and, if he's lucky, get his economy back on track. And while Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says the deal is about economic stability, critics from both sides of the aisle, and especially U.S. farmers, are calling Bessent's bluff. So what's really going on here? Why is the United States offering a massive bailout to a foreign government while parts of rural America are still reeling from years of decline and the ongoing trade war with China? And what are the risks and rewards of this financial lifeline extended to Argentina? Let's break it down. At the center of this high-stakes drama is President Javier Milei of Argentina, of course, a self-proclaimed radical libertarian and one of Trump's most visible political allies abroad. Trump has described Milei as his, quote, favorite president, and Milei even appeared on stage during Trump's inauguration, which is a rare honor for a foreign leader. But now Milei is in a very big trouble. Actually, to say that he's in trouble is likely an understatement. As I explained in great detail in one of my recent videos on the subject, Argentina's economy is in free fall. The peso has lost significant value, nearly 90%. Inflation is rampant, and trust in the government's economic reforms is rapidly eroding. Milei's party recently suffered a brutal defeat in local elections, and with crucial legislative elections around the corner later this year, Milei's grip on power is weakening. That's where the United States bailout comes in. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent declared the United States was ready to offer a $20 billion lifeline to Argentina. The final deal has not been announced just yet, but according to Bessent, it could involve buying the country's debt or using Treasury's $200 billion exchange stabilization fund, which is effectively U.S. taxpayer money, to support a foreign government's currency. Clearly, the aim is to prevent economic and political collapse in Argentina, to shore up its financial markets, and perhaps most importantly, to keep Milei in office. According to Bessent, this isn't charity, it is strategy. And Bessent is right here. He's being very transparent. Of course it is strategy. Otherwise, the United States wouldn't be spending U.S. taxpayer dollars and putting the U.S. more in debt to bail out a foreign government whose economy has been in big trouble for years. It's been years. Supporters argue the bailout is about protecting U.S. interests in Latin America. Argentina holds vast reserves of critical minerals like lithium and uranium, and its economy, if stabilized, could present lucrative opportunities for American companies. More importantly, the move is being framed as a direct challenge to China's growing influence in the region. But not everyone is buying that argument, thankfully. The backlash has been swift and fierce. Let's start with American farmers. During Trump's trade war with China, Beijing retaliated by slapping heavy tariffs on U.S. agricultural products, especially soybeans. In response, China started buying soybeans from Argentina and from Brazil instead of the United States because of higher tariffs that now China is facing. And effectively, that new strategy has undercut American exports to China, and it drove down prices. It was not China's preference. It was not China's choice to do this, but China simply responded to new trade realities. Fast forward to today, and those same farmers are now watching the Trump administration propose a $20 billion bailout for the country that has taken their biggest export market. For example, Caleb Ragland, who is the president of the American Soybean Association, did not mince his words. He said, U.S. soybean prices are falling, harvest is underway, and what do farmers see? Not support, not a new trade deal with China, but a bailout for Argentina. To make matters worse, Argentina has just lowered export taxes on soybeans too, which made them even more competitive in the Chinese market. Meanwhile, American soybean farmers are left out in the cold. And it's not just American farmers raising red flags. Some U.S. policymakers are accusing the Trump administration of funneling taxpayer dollars to prop up a foreign leader who shares Trump's ideology. But it's not just a political fight either. Economists and policy experts are warning that this deal could be very risky and even reckless. Argentina has a long history of economic mismanagement and debt defaults. It is the largest debtor to the International Monetary Fund. In fact, it holds nearly 1/3 of all IMF borrowing, and it has already burned through tens of billions of dollars in bailout funds. And right now, with little to show for it, the United States is considering stepping in with even more money, billions of dollars, and this time with few conditions attached. For example, Eswar Prasad, a former senior IMF official, commented, "There's no strong economic case for offering this kind of unconditional support to Argentina."
Have you ever wanted to see your home from space? With this free satellite Earth Maps tool, you can zoom
administration, there are signs of division. An anonymous official, which is reported by Politico, told reporters that Milei, quote, was fraud and that his administration had already squandered $15 billion in IMF funds and $15 billion in central bank reserves. Now they argue U.S. taxpayers are being asked to double down on stupid. So why is this bailout still moving forward? That is the big question. By helping Milei stay in power, the United States government is effectively making a statement that America is willing to use its financial muscle to support leaders who align with the United States. It's not the first time that we're doing this, and likely it's not the last time that we're doing this either. But let's be honest, this kind of foreign intervention, because that is what it is a foreign intervention, especially when it involves taxpayer money and election interference, carries significant risks. If Milei's government collapses anyway, the United States will have wasted billions of dollars. If the bailout fails to stabilize the economy of Argentina, American companies and farmers could face even tougher competition from cheap Argentinian exports. And if the deal is seen as politically motivated, which it is, of course, it could undermine trust in U.S. institutions abroad even further, as well as at home. So where does this all lead us? The Trump administration is betting that a $20 billion investment, or bailout to be more exact, can reshape Argentina's future. And by extension, it could reshape U.S. influence in Latin America. But the gamble comes with a steep price tag, with deep political costs, and there is no guarantee of success. What are your thoughts on this bailout? Let me know in the comments below. As always, I would love to hear from you. Thank you.
See, what we like to do here on the Conversation Continues, we like to cut through all the fancy talk and just make it so simple that a 3-year-old could understand what's being said. What she just basically told us is that the Republicans are getting their bag. This gamble they're taking with our money is going to make them billions, trillions to come as far as they're concerned, and the scope of this country still going on. Meanwhile, we're getting our behinds handed to us. And for all you white farmers out there, for all you poor white folks, listen to this broadcast, because you come here because you also realize that when you step into the lion's den, we're going to help you with your perspective. As the seventh answer said earlier on, you see why they bringing in all those white South African farmers? They know you're going to break bad. See, they know that you're not going to sing, you're not going to dance, you're not going to sing We Shall Overcome, you're not going to do no freedom rides or sit-ins. They know y'all coming for war. They know how y'all give it up. That's why they bringing those white South Africana farmers in as victims seeking asylum to take your place. Okay? So when y'all buck up, and the Bible said you're gonna do it anyway, it's gonna be a civil war in this country. A lockdown is coming. We know they plan on putting the white South Afrikaners in your place. So see, all you out there, you want to know why you're losing your jobs? You were the sacrificial pigs on the altar to generate that 20 billion and whatever else they got going on. All right. And this government shut down to hide, the pedophiles. The Epstein files, excuse us. It's just a dirty game, y'all. See, we not helping Argentina. The Republicans are helping them. And ooh, they getting their money. They know that if they lose, which is going to be kind of like, they may not lose though, because the Democrats, you are with the black voters now done with you. We walked away from y'all. Y'all been in all kinds of twisted knots. Okay, so all right, either way it go, man, something's gonna break in this country. And it's our job to try to avert it. I'll say that. We're trying to avert it. We're going to try to appeal to reason. But we can see right now with the block party that went on, and now with Attorney General Pam Bondi finally passing through Trump and company, this whole policy of they're going to shut down anyone they deem using hate speech. So now the truth is going to be deemed as hate speech. Anyone who buck up and can see through their bull shenanigans and speaks on it, calls them out on it, you will be be deemed a proponent of hate, which of course comes under the Defense Enhancement Security Act and the Lone Wolf Terrorist Bill of the Homeland Security Homeland Security Act. Yeah. Also the National Defense Authorization Act. All these things are now coming into play. See, the Republicans rob the bank, the Democrats drive the getaway car. And so what we do here, black media, what we do here on the Lion's Den is that we tear away all the fancy talk. We tear away all the rigmarole. We tear away all the gobbledygook and just get right down to the nitty gritty of what they're really trying to tell us. And what the Republicans are saying to us right now in bold and unfiltered language is basically F you. They got their middle finger up to the American people, all right, across the board, across every racial divide, and they're saying F you. And basically, there's nothing that you can do about it. But you know what I'm going to say? I advise all you out there, if you have debt, pay it off. Invest in a Kevlar helmet and duck. Because what's getting ready to come down the pike now, just duck. Be careful where you walk. Pay attention to where you at, man. Because, yo, this is not going to go well at all. We have more videos. So here we go. We're going to go back. We're going to continue to go ahead on. And fair use, copyright, fair use. We're not a monetized zone here. Okay, just want to put that out there. Freedom of speech, the truth. It's not criminal to speak the truth, except to those who like to live in lies. And that's exactly why the society is condemned. St. John 3:19. And this, as Christ said, and this is the condemnation of this world, that light has come into the world. The laws, the commandments of the Bible, the righteousness of the Lord is coming to the world. But men, wicked men to be exact, and wicked women to be exact, love darkness. They love darkness rather than light. And therefore, they shall meet their end. That's Christ saying that. Not Malachi, not Lady Karima, nor anyone else out here in Lion's Den land. Seventh answer, just bring up the next video. We're gonna continue on. We have no choice but to tell the truth. We have no choice but to reveal to you all what is transpiring to get you all ready. See, we're being placed in danger. Where some of us are able to cope, are willing to cope and maintain. What you think that January 6th insurrection was something? You've not seen nothing yet. A $20 billion bailout. And all of us out here living on fumes. People have lost everything. The videos of all those federal workers losing their jobs and all those white folks in particular. Oh my goodness. See, that DEI. All you gotta just do is just put the I in front of the E and you got DIE. That's right. Die. And that's what's happening. See, we have had our legs cut off so that somebody else can feed off our flesh, off our money. See, like I said before, and I'm going to say it again, the taxpayer, we're not taxpayers. When someone is taking your money before you get it, you're not paying anything. That's called extortion. Legalized extortion. So we have to understand what we're dealing with. Okay? And the bottom line is now, what we are showing you all you night owls riding with us now, welcome to the conversation continues. And we're your host, the seventh answer, Lady Karima, along with Brother Malakaya. And let me see who's talking. If anyone's out here talking right about now. Oh, I see this. Oh, well, okay. Well, we see we had Grafted Empire, Talaya Benya, AJ 777. I see everyone's more reserved to listening, which is cool. That's cool too. And Grafted Empire, what does the name seventh answer mean? Oh, well, I'll answer like this here. The seventh answer, the reason I christened through the Lord, of course, Lady Karima, as the seventh answer, it's a twofold answer. It's twofold. Once upon a time in life, I had the very beautiful benefit of befriending musician James Mtume. That's right, James Mtume, Juicy, and he wrote for Stephanie Mills. I never knew a love like this before. Put your body in it too. Everything that almost everything that Stephanie Mills sang, James Mtume wrote, along with he co-wrote for Donnie Hathaway, and the late, what's her name again? Roberta Flack, and so many others. James Mtume. Hold on for a second. Well, I had the pleasure of befriending him and the voice of Mtume, his beautiful wife, Sister Tawatha. All right. And he had unfortunately, in the time that I befriended him, he had contracted cancer. But he was also known as the third answer on a radio show out of New York, primarily, but heard, through the internet. It was titled the Open Line. But as he was preparing to, get cancer treatment in Boston, I was telling him, look, Toombs, I like to keep your legacy alive, man. I don't ever want the third. You'll always be the third answer, but I would like to keep that legacy alive and keep that name flowing. And he blessed me. He said, Malachi, listen, you come across somebody and you want to, I said, no, they can't be third. It can't be third. You're the third answer. It had to be another number. He said, well, okay. Go ahead on, brother. He had that raspy voice, You go ahead on and you deem, and whoever you come across and you deem them worthy of being the answer, give it to them. And so in the years that I was given the pleasure to come here on the Lion's Den, Sister Karima has proven to be the answer. Every time myself and Yeshaya Dog brought up a subject, well, we'll come with 1 or 2 videos or whatever. She come with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to a whole fleet. She'll pull things. Here, I'm talking about I forget names, dates of configuration. She just goes and finds it like it ain't nothing. And it was at that moment I heard the spirit of Ntume say, there you go, the 7th answer, complete. She brings completeness to this machine of the conversation continues. She's the 7th answer, okay? Completion. She just makes it happen. See, what I've learned in my lifetime, right, that when you look at how the Lord works, he always will have somebody who's more talented, more gifted than you. But you should never be jealous or be offended. You should always be happy to see when someone is doing their thing, and that should inspire you. So that's why I call her the 7th answer. Keeping the legacy of our dear brother James Ntume alive. And her number is 7, the completion. She just makes it happen. This incredible format, the Lion's Den. Okay, all that she maintains here, giving voices to other people out here, juggling other shows, creating different, fonts and all. Yo, that's a hell of a talent, a hell of a gift. Thus, therefore, Grafted and Pod, that's why she's known as the 7th answer, my brother. All right. Now, with the tenderness out the way and the mushy stuff out the way, the title of the show tonight, Dear Mr. President, we ain't forgot. Give me my money. We want a check too, man. We want a better. Yo, you just gave Argentina a $20 billion bailout. And here it is, we starving. 7th answer, if you're still with us, bring up some videos. Let's keep this energy going. In the meantime, though, for those you out here who are new to the show, welcome. We welcome you. We want you to hit that like button. We want you to hit that subscribe button. And we want you to share this show. Invite a friend to listen to this great truthality social media format, because all we hit you with are the facts. That's FACTS, the frequently accurate, correct truths. Because here on the Lion's Den, we ask you, Aren't you tired of being lied to? Look at the fact that this man, the president, if you want to give him that, of Argentina, Morel, whatever, that dude wrecked that economy. And and he received a $20 billion bailout before and now from the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. And now here come Donald J. Trump and the Republican horde, barbarian horde, now giving this man a $20 billion bailout, but we, the American people, are starving like Marvin. And I'm not saying that to be funny. Here you have, again, jobs being cut and slashed so that money could be taken to give to some other entities outside of America, but I thought it was America first. And for all my white folks out there listening, yeah, we hold you down too. We welcome you to the Lions Den too. All y'all that were voting MAGA, got on board with all that MAGA crap, got on board with all that warlockery and witchcraft, voted against black folks getting reparations, getting free health care because you didn't want nobody else to have it but you. All you white farmers out there, you didn't care about black farmers not getting theirs, as long as you was getting yours. And look at it now. Look at you now. For all you white women out there, you white women who benefited greatly from DEI. You see the game they played on y'all? We're gonna get rid of we're gonna get rid of the niggers. We're gonna get rid of they've been taking white people's jobs on the DEI. Yeah, a lot of black folks got fired. A lot of black folks are out of work. But now all you white women have gotten your legs cut off. That's right. You were also a target. See, there's a lot of infighting going on in your relationships behind closed doors. You see, we know all about it. But see, when you go causing chaos in other people's homes, in other people's relationships, that same energy gonna come back to you all. And that's why you all have been made a target too. See, there are a lot of white men who feel some kind of way about you white women having way too much money and power, so much so that you don't want to be with them. They feel some kind of way about you out here gallivanting with other men of other nations. That's right, but especially black men. Oh my God. What? You think they are going to sit by and watch you get it on with Pookie, Ray Ray, Jay Martavius, or whoever? No. They want to whip you back into submission to them. See, this is how profound this game is being played. Stick around. You know, perhaps having answers elsewhere. But I'm going to hold you down until we get the videos back up, because you need to see these things, and you need for us to be here. You need for us to bring you the reality of what is transpiring, because we cannot continue to live in lies. And you know what? As an old Bible proverb states, indeed, what is done in darkness must, will, and shall come to the light. And so we're that light. The Lion's Den is that light, one of many. We're that light. And here we go, y'all. Take a listen. No, you know what? No. You know what? I don't want to give this fool in lieu of the last time we gave a voice to some people out here. I don't want to give this fool, my bad, Seven. This fool here with the glasses on, I don't want to give him no damn play. I don't want to give him no play. So go to the next video. We won't give idiots any voice here on the Lion's Den in honor of our 7I formula. And that is integrity and intelligence. Okay? So go to the next video when you're ready. We're going to bring it up, but we're going to let you all see for yourselves. And all my night owls out there rolling with me at the 1 o'clock hour on the East Coast. Ooh. Thank you. And for any of you out there in the world right now, outside of the U.S., and you're tuning in and rocking with us, hey, good afternoon, good evening, whatever. Welcome. Let's go to work, seventh answer.
If the government shutdown continues.
It's been almost 14 full days since lawmakers failed to agree on how to fund the government. News specialist Shelby Lofton spoke with the workers who are facing the reality of no paychecks until that changes.
We're 2 weeks into the government shutdown, which means many federal workers are without a paycheck until it reopens. It's causing a lot of concern for employees here in Ogden.
We don't know how long this is going to go on.
IRS employee Amy Nelson has been through a government shutdown before.
With the last government shutdown, I actually worked for the private sector and my husband worked for the government. And that was actually kind of nice because we still had my paycheck coming in.
Today, Nelson, her husband, son, and daughter-in-law all work for the federal government.
They've told us go home and watch the news and then when you hear the shutdown's over, then come back to work.
She's worried this shutdown could beat the one in 2019, which lasted 35 days. Nelson says some of her coworkers struggled financially before the shutdown.
I worry a lot for the employees that both spouses work for the federal government. They're not getting paychecks.
Nelson says many of them earn just above the threshold for public assistance.
The very lowest employees, they'd make more if they worked it in and out.
To combat the financial stress, she and others within the National Treasury Employees Union started food pantries. Cabinets in 3 federal buildings were stocked with essentials.
Single mom from Salt Lake, every time I saw her, she would say, I'm so thankful for that food pantry.
With the shutdown in place, no one is going to the buildings.
They don't have access to the food pantry.
Nelson says it's put her coworkers in a difficult position.
Do we have a meet and greet type thing, meet with food pantries?
She says they want to get back to work.
We just really want to do our work and do our jobs and help the American tax-paying public. We don't want to be attacked. We're not the bad guy.
Nelson told me they had planned to relocate to a different building by October 22nd. The U.S. government announced it was getting rid of this building late last year, but with the government shutdown still going on, she doesn't know when or if they'll be returning to this building. In Ogden, Shelby Lofton, KSL 5 News.
Let me just say this. Look, for all y'all out there in the IRS, okay, real talk, you don't get no sympathy over this way. You've been for a long time allowing yourself to be used to fleece we the people. And now here it is, your very boss, your bosses are now fleecing you. What, you thought that you were expendable? No. You were immune to being fleeced? No, see, IRS. See, you guys were just tools by Pimp Daddy Uncle Sam. I'm robbing suckers. But when it comes down to it, when it's time for y'all to no longer be useful hoes, Pimp Daddy Uncle Sam curbing y'all now. You get no sympathy. Now, welcome to the club. How does it feel? How does it feel? And in Utah, the same state that got Charlie Kirk murked. I'm just saying. But see, even the IRS, even they are not immune to the, how you say, kick in the behind. Yeah, that's right. Nobody's safe. The devil don't have no friends. All the devil do is he uses you, then breaks you. It's just that simple. Let's keep the energy going. Seventh answer. Let's keep these videos rolling. This is what's going on all throughout the world. And as you can see, like Inspector Gadget, the seventh answer, and myself, we are always on duty. Like Richard Pryor, Sharp Eye Washington, we are steady on the case. Virgo energy, we gonna be out there analyzing. While some of y'all might be partying and having a good time or trying to keep yourselves occupied from facing the realities, no, we gonna roll up our sleeves and just dive headlong into the danger. Somebody got to do it. Someone has to face the danger and uncover and reveal and show what is transpiring out here. And that's what we do. We're good at it too. So let's keep the energy going. Seventh answer. Let's feed the people. We're gonna give you another hour. You know what I'm saying? And for again, all my peoples out here riding with us. We love you. We thank you. And again, for our night owls. Woo-hoo. We're the all-seeing eye of God. And we're going to make sure you don't be deprived of the truth. We're not going to deprive you of the truth. We're not going to deprive you of this truth-totality experiment. So seventh answer, let's keep it going. Let's keep the energy flowing. All right. We want you to hit that like and subscribe button. Invite a friend in. Tell a friend. Share the show. And like I said, it's our pleasure to be one of the many instruments out here in this Black media community, bringing heat and keeping you all abreast. And I asked you all to forgive me earlier when I deviated from my my composed self. But look, man, to see money being thrown here, there, and everywhere else while I'm up here living on fumes and all in the struggle, and I get told, oh, no free lunch. You guys are always wanting something. But everybody else, people who haven't put a dime into this system are getting all kinds of the billions of dollars. Which means that here it is, if they really want to bail us out and help the American people, the American citizens, for sake of argument, they could. But they don't want to. Because obviously, it's quite obvious, under this supremacist system, the poor must be kept poor for those who have low self-esteem but yet they are able to, scheme to feel superior. So they don't want an even playing field. They don't want everyone to be well off, because in this capitalist society, there are alphabets, DIFUS, ACS, and so many others, NAACP, so many other alphabets out here who make money, tons of money, off of human misery. Think about that. In reality, from a psychological standpoint, we don't need a pill. We don't need medication to make us happy. Oh, I know for a fact, a nice fat bank account will keep a great many of us in a nice headspace. A great many of us, many of our problems would disappear overnight if our economics and our money game was made right. And they know that. Because no pill, no sedative can make you happy when your well-being is being deliberately targeted. But there are those out here in this capitalist society, in this capitalist economy, this porterhouse steak economy, while paying us Frankenbean wages, who are making a killing, literally a killing, off of human misery. I want you to let that sink in and give that careful consideration. There are actually people who are in power who are counting on and banking on a great many of you out there to become so desperate that you'll try to rob a bank, you'll try to do something, off the books in the area of criminality, just so they can arrest you and start filling many of the prisons that have been built over the years in Republican territories, mind you, in order to keep the economy going. Think about that for a second. So they don't have room for a great many of us in corporate boardrooms, but they're making plenty of room for you in corporate prison rooms. Let's not forget that during the 1990s into the early 2000s, throughout the 50 states, scores of prisons were built. Some of them 750 cell double occupancy prison cells built and constructed. Some of them are still not occupied just yet, but there are bankers out there banking on if you wreck the economy, get people desperate enough, they're ready for you. But like I said, after a while, when you go digging a grave for others, that's the grave you wind up falling in. And so again, all we're doing is talking about it. All we're doing is bringing forth all the facts, the figures, and computations you can take, and go out and check it out for yourself to see that we're not lying to you. Hold on just a second. Seventh Answer, if you can bring up another video, I would really appreciate it. Unless you're ready to call it a night. If you're ready to call it a night, we can do that too. I think we've given enough food. We can continue this conversation. There's always tomorrow. If you have other things you have to take care of, we have to be I must be considerate. All right. And plus some of you have to get ready for work or you're at work. All right. So it's your call, Seventh Answer. All right. We'll keep the energy going. Now, we've been talking about the Gullah Geechee people. There was a mass shooting in South Carolina. We discussed the particulars of also some other mass shootings and sabotaging of Black-owned businesses here in this modern day and age, that Tulsa, Oklahoma, Lake Lanier and all that. There's still that criminal element out there that is deliberately sabotaging Black businesses. There's no other way we can describe it. We've also been discussing, your president, Donald J. Trump and company, giving the government of Argentina a $20 billion bailout. My. But there's no money for the poor here in America. There's no money for you and I. But there's plenty of money to go around bailing out countries where the presidents and that administration over in a foreign country have ran the country and its economy into the ground for their own personal use. And again, this is not going to end well. This is not going to go well. I got a very bad feeling about this. To quote Star Wars. And so, like I said, we here on, and to quote JT Raw, you shout out, he did say, yo, there is a raw that's brewing. The raw truth, the raw facts, the raw reality. And we all know when you spell raw backwards, war, it's brewing. Right now he's on hiatus, but we had a long conversation today as well about all these developments that are going on. As we see, it is not going to stop. Apparently, you have our Republican administration showing they don't give a rat's behind about we the people. But it's been that way. But now I see a very dangerous climate. I see, and I'm sure many of you out there see it as well, a very dangerous climate, a very dangerous atmosphere brewing. And like I said, I will not sit up here in front. I'm scared. It's a little bit, I'm a tad bit scared. Because again, when you are surrounded by people out here who have nothing to lose, have completely snapped, all of us are subject to getting caught out there as unintended targets or targets that shouldn't be made targets because their wrath is misplaced on we the people. I'm just saying, I'm putting all this out there for you to think about. As I said, we're not calling for sedition. We wouldn't dare do that. We don't believe in being treasonous. But we see treasonous behavior being committed by these administrations, and it's been that way. And the thing is, now we are living in a time where people's breaking point. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm afraid of. And as we continue on, as I said, we're going to continue to show you what's going on. So, dear Mr. President, we forgot, give us our money. I don't know about any of y'all. I could use a quick $5 million. I can make that work. Give me a quick $5 million. That ain't nothing to ask for. I don't think. And so, seventh answer, as I said, you've been quiet a little bit there. Let's give them a couple more videos and we're gonna call it a night. All right. We've been going hard. We've been going hard in the paint. Okay, so my only frustration is just that here it is, we can talk about it so brilliantly, but yet we're unable to do anything about it. That's where I want to do something about it, but constructively. Okay, again, how much more are we supposed to carry the load of rich psychopaths and sociopaths who have entrenched themselves into the government and are basically using the policies of Ronald Wilson Reagan, Rapeonomics, to bring about what seems to be maybe a deliberate tanking and destroying of the American economy to restructure and reset it. Is that where we're headed? With this digital footprint, with all this digital currency and everything going automated, you have to have a card. They want to do away with cash. They're doing away with checks. Everything can be just loaded onto your card. You have all this AI coming into effect where it's been projected within the next number of years that AI is going to take about 30 or more million jobs. I hate to say this, but I'm forced to say it. Here we are in 2025. And you know something? We are 4 years out from, this freaks me out. I remember being a 16-year-old kid. No, wait, no. Yeah, 16-year-old kid watching The Terminator. And I recall sitting in the theater as I watched the movie, and it says 2029. Cyberdyne System of Gold Sentinel. And I was like, wow, 2029? I wonder where I'll be in 2029. But the thing is, the movie opened, the premise was the future being dark, bleak, and everything given over to automation. And so much so that you had a particular computer go sentient, and you had living androids take over and to wipe out the human race. And here we are in 2025, and now you have AI. Everything is going AI. Everything is automated to a high degree. We see all these different AI prototypes being shown. Some of them are malfunctioning and glitching. And so we're 4 years out from Dun 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 dun. And everything is going AI. I'm just saying. So we're gonna need a God or some kind of force to come down here to save us. Because with all this demonic demons walking with earthly feet and what they're pushing on us, yeah, man, we're gonna need a God or somebody to come here and save us. Ain't no doubt in my mind. And again, this is the conversation continues. And I'm just, giving you all the connectors to the subject matter that we're talking about. Like I said, all I want is a quick 5 million. But here it is, like I said, we had Donald J. Trump and company talking about how when Barack Obama and other administrations had shut the government down, he was talking about how atrocious it was, how wrong it was, and now here we are, Bill Gates, President Bill Gates, and Vice President Elon Musk. We're 14 days, 2 weeks in a government shutdown, and man, oh man, oh man, heads are rolling on we the poor and we the people out here. And so, our job, I'm going to keep on repeating this part, our responsibility is to come here and be bold enough to bring it as truth. But now, with Attorney General Pam Bondi passing into law or putting into law, finally, that anyone they deem to be a speaker of hate can and will be shown a step to with aggression. So any voices of dissent, like ours, probably yours, or anyone else, we're now in danger. Now, this is coming from the same country that for years hanged people on trees. The same country that was taking little black babies and using them as gator bait, feeding them the alligators so they can kill them. This is the same country that would take the skulls of black men and women who were lynched or what have you, take the skulls and they were the original jack-o'-lantern. Do you know that? Do any of y'all know the origin of how that came? The jack-o'-lantern, the pumpkin heads came to be on Halloween. Since we're in that season, does anyone remember the history of how they would take the heads of slaves, hollow them out, and put candles in them, and hang the heads on stakes? See, this is what they want to hide from the history books. But we're not going to let them forget, ever. Not ever. And that's why I keep saying, oh, we ain't forgot. And now, anybody out here who you talking about there's no money for reparations, I don't want to hear it. I do not want to hear it. It shows you the racist, demonic core of the system. Here it is, $20 billion Out of $20 billion, if you gave, let's say, out of 20 billion, let's say there was an estimated 168 million black folk in America. I'm just going to give you a little raw number. And you gave every black man, woman, and child, anyone, of course, anyone who's on drugs or some kind of mental issue, we can put the money up in escrow and get them the help they need. But their money could be managed under righteous administration. But you give $168 million, $1 million per person out of $20 billion. Do you realize you haven't put a dent as far as that being reparations? But here it is. This country doesn't want to give black folks, we who are the descendants of prisoners of war, not descendants of slaves, but prisoners of war who were subjected to all types of inhumane treatment. They don't want to give us the monies that our forefathers and mothers were robbed of, but they can give a government, an entire government where that president robbed and pillaged, I'm going to say it again, robbed and pillaged the economy. They can give him a $20 billion bailout. And now do you see why, from a biblical standpoint, when you hear the good Lord say, be not deceived, he is not mocked, that whatever a man reap is what he sows, or whatever a man sows is what he reaps? This is just downright devious, disrespectful, and everything else any other adjective that you can bring up to describe what we are facing right now. And I'm gonna say it again and keep on saying it. If they want to censor, you want to block, you can do that to your heart's content. But listen, we are all in danger out here. Okay, we don't have the luxury of having a 50-man or more security team or a 5-man security team to protect us in our day-to-day walk. Sure, we can survive on a wing and a prayer. For yea, though I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. But still in all, the fact that our lives are being put in jeopardy by the recklessness of those who are supposed to be governing righteously, but they aren't, that's a problem. A very serious problem. And again, we can talk about it, we can analyze it till the cows come home. It's still not going to change anything until we make that change. Again, people out here losing their jobs, and yet we have a system that is bragging about taking money out the mouths of starving people here in America, veterans, the elderly, the retired. And you know what? Hey yo, And you know what's an even deeper conundrum? You have these workers now who are out of work, and yet they can't retire. Talk about a conundrum. They're not in retirement age, but yet they can't get a job. I mean, these are the things I want to show you, all right? But I'm just trying to point this out to yo. They can't get a job right now. For all of us who are Gen X up here in our 50s or better, the work, you know how it goes. America has always been a youth-oriented society. As a matter of fact, by the time you're 30 years old, you're looked upon as being a problem. And let me describe what I mean by a problem. Because theoretically, as you get older, as an employer or employee, especially an employee, you become much more aware of your worth. And they know, and many employers in this society where they want a lot for a little, they know a great many of you are not going to be satisfied with being paid a minimum wage. They know you're going to want more money because it does make sense. If you need for me to help you make $1 million, you should not be paying me no $500. It's just that simple. And I shouldn't have to wait every 2 weeks to be paid. 14 days is a long time to have to wait for some damn money. And now here it is. Most of these people who are losing their jobs are 50 or 60 years of age, but they're not in the age of retirement. Okay. And then another conundrum. Here it is for some of them. They are out of work, but they are not laid off. And so by not being laid off, they can't collect unemployment. Oh, well, listen, you can go and we'll give you a call to come back to work. But right now, we just shut down. All operations cease to exist right now. But wait, that means with the shutdown, you can't collect unemployment. Then those of you that's trying to get a job, you're not going to get a job because, hey, you're too old. It's a catch-22 all the way around. That's even worse. There are people out here, not only are they watching a $20 billion bailout be given to Argentina, but then you have within the government, those who are making these decisions, they're getting paid. While the workers being laid off, shut down, you can't collect a dime. Not in retirement, nor unemployment insurance because they didn't lay you off. The government is just shut down right now. And if you don't have any savings, oh my God, you're screwed. You're screwed. Now that's just evil. I don't care what no one said. You cannot tell me that ain't evil. That is just evil. Like, good grief, man. You know, Stand by, you all. Hold on, stand by. I'll be back. Yeah, I'm back, y'all. Sorry about that. I had to, take a quick impromptu break. But listen, you know what? Listen. Thank y'all for riding out with me, okay? What we gonna do now is just call it a day, call it a night. I'm gonna continue this conversation. Make no mistake about it. We definitely gonna continue this conversation because we cannot let this go. But in the meantime, between time, we want you to stay alert, stay vigilant, stay ready. And in closing, we give honor to the Lord in Christ, from whom all positive thoughts flow. You've been riding out with The Conversation Continues. The seventh answer, Lady Karima, and I, Brother Malachi, Big Baby Hebrew. As we close out, as always, in the spirit of our dearly departed brother, Don Cornelius, we say, Shalom, peace, ahab, love, and as always, protect and be patient in your soul. And we are up out of here.